Some secrets of our world cannot be explained. Ancient footprints, crystal skulls, sunken stone labs, they whisper across time, daring us to wonder. Tonight we explore 24 incredible mysteries of the ancient world, from giants' footprints to buried treasures, from enigmatic sculptures to submerged structures. Where are you watching from, and what time is it? Take a deep breath, and if you like and subscribe, legend says you could gain 7 years of luck. So settle in. Moso's footprint. Samoa and Fiji. In the remote islands of the South Pacific where the ocean stretches endlessly and the air smells of salt and wild flowers, there exists a place of quiet wonder. It is a place where the earth itself seems to remember the giants of old, the stories of beings so immense that they could stride from one island to another with a single step. Here, in the volcanic basalt of Samoa and Fiji, rests what is known as Moso's footprint. Imagine, for a moment, standing at the edge of this enormous depression in stone, over 2 meters long, shaped like a human footprint, yet far larger than any human could leave. The rock beneath your feet is smooth, weathered, yet unyielding, holding the impression as though it were pressed there yesterday, and yet it has survived countless centuries, enduring rain, wind, and the slow, unrelenting movement of the earth itself. The locals tell a story. They speak of Moso, a giant of unimaginable size and strength, who in times before memory walked from Samoa to Fiji. With each step he left marks upon the earth, impressions so vast that even generations later we pause to wonder, to marvel, and to question. Could it really have been a giant? Or is this footprint a mystery that challenges our understanding, a puzzle left for us to imagine and interpret? As you gaze upon the footprint, it is easy to feel a strange sense of connection to something immense and forgotten. It is not merely a hole in the rock, it is a symbol of scale, of power, and of the stories humans have carried for centuries. How did such a depression come to exist? Was it carved deliberately, a monument to a local myth, or was it shaped by forces of nature, magma flowing and cooling in patterns that mimic life? Walking along the basalt, your eyes trace the curve of the arch, the impression of the heel, the spread of the toes, each detail captured with astonishing clarity. In your mind you can almost see Moso himself, taking a single impossible step across the islands. His foot meets the earth with a quiet thud, a moment of contact that echoes through time, and with that step, a story begins. One that bridges myth and reality, imagination and observation. Archaeologists and geologists have studied Moso's footprint, trying to unravel the mystery of its origin. Some suggest natural geological processes, lava flows cooling and cracking in precise patterns, might explain the shape. Others argue that ancient humans could have deliberately carved it, perhaps as a way to honor legends, heroes, or gods. Yet no explanation has satisfied all who study it. The footprint remains enigmatic, suspended between natural wonder and human storytelling, a reminder that the world often defies simple answers. Consider the scale of the footprint. 2 meters long, wide enough to accommodate the largest of shoes, or perhaps none at all. The toes, the heel, the arch, they seem impossibly proportioned for a creature of legend, and yet when you stand beside it, the mind struggles to dismiss the possibility entirely. There is something compelling about its presence, a quiet insistence that demands attention, reflection, and awe. Imagine the world as it might have been when Moso allegedly walked these lands. The islands were untouched by modernity, forests dense and wild, the air filled with the calls of birds, the rush of waves, and the scent of volcanic earth. The giants of legend moved silently through this primeval landscape, leaving subtle reminders of their existence. And now, centuries later, the footprint remains, a solitary testament to myth, imagination, or perhaps something more. Local communities continue to share stories, passing them down from generation to generation. Children grow up hearing of Moso's stride, of the giant who bridged islands in a single bound. For them, the footprint is not just a rock formation, it is a sacred marker, a tangible connection to the past, to the legends that define their culture and identity. It invites reflection, curiosity, and even reverence. As you stand beside it, you can almost hear the whispers of time. The wind sweeps across the basalt, carrying tales of Moso's journey, of steps that reshaped the landscape, of a presence that is felt more than seen. You notice the subtle imperfections, the weathered edges, the way moss and lichen have claimed parts of the footprint, softening its outline. It is alive in its own way, a silent witness to centuries of history, myth, and human imagination. Some who visit describe a sense of awe, a calm fascination, as if the footprint itself is urging them to pause, to consider scale, possibility, and the stories humans tell. It is a bridge, not only between Samoa and Fiji, as legend claims, but between reality and imagination, geology and folklore, the known and the mysterious. The mystery of Moso's footprint is not in a definitive answer, but in the questions it provokes. How did it form? Who or what left it? and why does it continue to captivate those who encounter it? Perhaps that is the true wonder, that a simple depression in basalt can inspire stories, curiosity, and reflection across generations. As night falls on the islands, imagine Moso taking his next step, invisible to human eyes, yet leaving behind traces that endure. Imagine the silence, broken only by the gentle lapping of the sea and the whisper of the wind through the palms. The footprint remains, still vast, still enigmatic, still inviting us to wonder, and so, Moso's footprint persists, a quiet testament to the interplay of legend, nature, and human fascination. It is more than stone, it is a story, a question, a mystery that stretches across islands and centuries. Standing there beside this enormous impression, one cannot help but feel the weight of imagination, the pull of possibility, and the serene beauty of a mystery that endures, quietly waiting for anyone willing to see it, to feel it, and to imagine the giant who once walked the South Pacific. The Golden Tongue with Skeleton, Egypt. In the sun-baked sands of Egypt, where the heat ripples over endless dunes and the wind carries whispers of millennia, there exists a secret that time has held with quiet patience. Beneath the ruins of Taposiris Magna, in a tomb worn by centuries of dust and shadow, archaeologists discovered a mummy, unlike any other, a body more than 2,000 years old, with a golden tongue carefully placed within its mouth. At first glance it seems almost impossible, a vision that feels like it belongs to legend more than reality. The tongue, small but perfectly formed, rests gently within the mouth of a figure long deceased. Yet it is not mere decoration, it gleams faintly, catching the filtered sunlight or the glow of a lantern, as if it were alive, as if it carried purpose far beyond its metallic form. Imagine standing in that tomb. The air is heavy with the scent of age and earth. Shadows stretch across the walls, carved with hieroglyphs that tell stories of gods, kings, and rituals long forgotten. In this quiet darkness, the golden tongue becomes a focal point, a reminder that even in death, humans sought a way to speak, to reach beyond mortality. Why gold? Perhaps for its permanence, its incorruptibility. Perhaps because it symbolized divinity, eternity, and the idea that words could outlast flesh. Gold does not decay, it does not fade, and here, in this small shining object, it promises the potential to speak when all else has fallen silent. Consider the hands that placed it, delicate, reverent, careful. Perhaps a priest or family member working in ritual understood that this tongue would act as a key, a bridge between the world of the living and the realm beyond. Their fingers adjusted it gently, ensuring it lay precisely where it would be most effective. In that act, a connection was formed across centuries, from the living to the dead, and now, to us. As you imagine the placement of the tongue, picture the life of the person it belonged to. Who were they? What words mattered most to them in life? What stories, songs, prayers, or declarations did they utter that were now sealed away? And yet, through the golden tongue, there is a promise, a voice that could speak once more, even in the silent void of the tomb. The discovery sparks endless curiosity. Scholars have speculated about its purpose. Some believe it was meant to allow the deceased to speak in the afterlife, to recite prayers, to plead or petition the gods. Others see it as a symbol of eternal knowledge or wisdom, a magical talisman ensuring that the individual could communicate with the divine, and some wonder if it was also a statement, a form of devotion, a ritual expression of care and intention by those left behind. As your mind wanders, imagine the tomb itself. The walls etched with symbols of life, death, and the cosmos. The air still, almost sacred, as if it knows the weight of centuries and secrets contained within its space. You can almost hear the faint scratching of tools long silenced, the whispers of ritual chants, the quiet footsteps of caretakers ensuring the body remained untouched until the golden tongue could fulfill its purpose. Pause and consider the human desire embedded in this act. To communicate beyond death is a longing as old as civilization itself. The golden tongue is not only a physical object, it is a manifestation of hope, faith, and imagination. It embodies the belief that voice, thought, and identity can endure beyond the fragile vessel of flesh. It is at once both intimate and universal, personal and timeless. Let yourself imagine holding the tongue in your hand, feeling the cool metal, tracing its subtle curves. What stories could it tell if it could speak? The quiet of the tomb presses around you, yet the tongue seems to hum with possibility. In a sense, it is alive, not in the way flesh is, but in the way ideas, rituals, and human intention can survive millennia. The golden tongue also invites reflection on mortality. What does it mean to be remembered? What traces of our existence do we leave behind, intentionally or by accident? This small object forces us to think about the fragility of life, the permanence of certain choices, and the extraordinary lengths humans will go to preserve memory and connection. Consider the world outside the tomb, the Nile flowing endlessly, the desert winds sculpting dunes, the cities of mortals bustling far away. Amidst this ever-changing world, The golden tongue rests quietly. It is untouched by the passing of centuries, yet it carries within it the living imagination of people long gone. It reminds us that even in silence there can be communication, even in stillness there can be power. Now imagine the individual themselves, lying within the wrappings, resting peacefully, yet equipped with a voice for eternity. The tongue, though silent to us, represents readiness, preparation, and hope. It is a gift from the living to the dead, an assurance that in the unseen world, speech, expression, and presence endure. Every detail of the discovery encourages slow, mindful contemplation. The color of the metal, the shape of the tongue, the care in which it was positioned, every element carries intention and significance. And as you dwell on it, you begin to see not just the artifact but the people, the culture, the beliefs, and the imagination that created it. Let your thoughts drift through this moment. The mummy, the tomb, the golden tongue, the desert outside, the sun setting over Taposorius Magna. Time itself seems to pause. The artifact is a bridge, a reminder that stories, faith, and human ingenuity are far more enduring than stone or sand. The golden tongue whispers, not in sound but in meaning. It is an invitation to wonder, to imagine, to reflect, and to feel the calm, quiet beauty of human belief across millennia. And in that quiet reflection, we are drawn closer to a world we can never fully know, yet can sense through the objects left behind. So as you sit beside this story, let your mind wander gently through the sands of Egypt, through the whispers of tombs, through the brilliance of gold and the silence of eternity. Let curiosity guide you, let awe settle in, and let the golden tongue speak softly as a reminder that even in death, humans have always sought to be heard, remembered, and understood. And there, in that quiet meditation, the golden tongue rests, waiting for anyone willing to listen, willing to imagine, and willing to wonder. It is more than metal, it is a story, a mystery, and a bridge across time, whispering its secrets softly into the minds of those who pause to hear. The giant jars of Assam, India. In the dense, mist-covered hills of northeastern India, where rivers carve their way through lush forests and the air carries the scent of earth and rain, there lies a mystery older than memory. Scattered across the plateaus of megalithic Assam, enormous stone jars stand silently, some reaching over 3 meters in height. These are the giant jars of Assam, ancient vessels carved from stone, yet no one truly knows why they were made, who made them, or what purpose they once served. Imagine walking among these colossal jars. The sunlight filters through the trees, casting long, shifting shadows over the weathered stone. Moss clings to the surfaces, softening their outlines, and the air is still, filled with the quiet hum of nature. Each jar is hollow, carefully carved, with rims smooth from centuries of wind and rain. Some are open to the sky, others tipped or buried slightly into the earth, as if the landscape itself is trying to keep them secret. The sheer size of these jars invites awe. How did ancient people move and carve such massive stones without wheels or modern tools? How did they decide the exact placement of each jar across the plateau? And why? Were they tombs, containers for the dead, sacred vessels, or part of ceremonies that have long vanished from human memory? Archaeologists and historians have puzzled over these jars for generations. Some suggest they were funerary urns, holding the remains of the dead in a time when burial practices were vastly different from what we know today. Others believe the jars were used for fermentation, or as storage vessels for water or grains in rituals tied to life and death. Some even propose that the jars were part of astronomical alignments, connected to the cycles of the sun and moon. Yet no theory has been definitively proven. As you trace the smooth curves of a jar with your eyes, you might notice the fine craftsmanship, the careful carving from solid stone. Each vessel is hollowed with precision, the walls thick enough to last millennia. You can almost imagine the hands that chipped away at the rock, the labor that must have taken months or even years, and the reverence with which they worked. There is a sense of purpose here, a quiet insistence that whatever was done mattered deeply to the people who did it. Now, let your mind wander. Picture the ancient plateau bustling with activity. Long before modern roads or towns, perhaps there were communities gathered around these jars, performing rituals, chanting, singing, offering prayers to unseen gods. Perhaps each jar held the ashes of ancestors or the hopes of a community seeking protection and blessing. Each hollow stone could have been a vessel of memory, of respect, of belief in forces beyond understanding. There is a certain eerie beauty to these jars. Their emptiness is profound, yet they speak volumes to the imagination. The hollow interior, silent for centuries, seems to echo with whispers of the past. You might imagine the conversations of those who once stood here, the ceremonies they conducted, the songs and incantations carried by the wind across the hills. Every stone is a messenger, a fragment of a culture that has left only subtle hints behind. Consider the landscape around them. Rolling hills, dense bamboo forests, and streams trickling down ancient valleys. The jars are scattered in ways that seem deliberate, yet we cannot know their pattern. Walking among them, you feel the scale, the human ambition, the quiet connection to earth and sky. It is easy to feel small in their presence, to sense the magnitude of labor, belief, and time embedded in each monolithic vessel. Some jars bear carvings or markings, almost imperceptible to the casual observer. Faint scratches, grooves, and patterns hint at purpose or symbolism. Could these be clan symbols, messages to the spirits, or guides for rituals? Or are they simply the marks of stone and time, shaped by wind, rain, and human hands long gone? The mystery remains, enticing and profound. The giant jars of Assam also raise questions about knowledge lost to history. How did these ancient people understand stone, leverage tools, and organize the labor needed to create such monumental objects? What stories, wisdom, or traditions disappeared along with the civilizations that built them? These jars are silent, yet they compel reflection, inviting us to fill the gaps with imagination, curiosity, and wonder. Now, imagine standing beside the largest jar, placing your hand on its weathered rim. The stone is cool, solid, enduring. Your fingers trace the contours, following centuries of erosion and natural wear. You close your eyes and feel the wind brushing past, hear the distant call of birds, and sense the presence of the ancient makers, their intention echoing through the ages. As night begins to fall, the jars take on an even more mysterious aura. The shadows deepen, and the plateau seems to exhale centuries of silence. You might imagine the ceremonies held under moonlight, the jars illuminated by flickering fire, the voices of ancient peoples lifted in song or prayer. Perhaps some of the jars were tombs for chiefs or spiritual leaders, perhaps they were containers for sacred offerings, or perhaps their purpose is something we will never fully understand. And yet in their silence, there is a profound lesson. The jars remind us of human curiosity, creativity, and the desire to leave something lasting, something meaningful, even when the reasons are obscured by time. Each hollow vessel is both a question and an answer, a space for imagination and reflection, a bridge connecting us to minds long gone. As you let your thoughts drift, imagine walking slowly among them, feeling the weight of history beneath your feet, the stories hidden in stone. The giant jars of Assam are more than relics. They are mysteries that continue to awaken wonder, curiosity, and a quiet reverence for the ingenuity of the ancient world. And so the jars remain, silent and majestic, scattered across the hills of Assam. They invite us to pause, to wonder, to imagine, and to feel the slow, profound beauty of a world that has existed long before our own time. In the stillness of their presence, they speak to the eternal human desire to create, to honor, and to connect across the vast expanses of time. Solid Muldoon, USA. In the high plains of Colorado, where the wind sweeps across endless grasslands and the horizon stretches into quiet, empty skies, there once arose a story that captivated the imagination of an entire nation. A story of a mysterious, petrified body, claimed to be a prehistoric giant, embedded in the earth itself. This was the tale of the Solid Muldoon, a discovery that seemed to blur the line between reality and myth, science and speculation. Imagine, for a moment, standing on that Colorado hill, feeling the dry wind brush against your face. The earth is firm beneath your feet, dotted with rocks and shrubs, stretching endlessly in every direction. And there, half buried in the soil, someone claimed to have uncovered the shape of a human body. Solid, lifelike and petrified, as though time itself had turned flesh into stone. The body was described in extraordinary detail, its limbs rigid and perfectly preserved, its features unmistakably human, yet impossibly ancient. The skin was said to resemble rock, the hair like fine threads pressed into solid matter. Witnesses spoke of awe, of wonder, of a sense that they were glimpsing something far beyond ordinary experience. And for a time, the world leaned in, eager to believe. Newspapers carried stories of this prehistoric giant, capturing imaginations across the country. Curiosity swelled. Who or what was this figure? Was it truly the remnant of an ancient human, or perhaps a creature lost to memory? Could it have been a giant, a being of legend, whose bones and body had somehow petrified over thousands of years? The possibilities seemed endless, the mystery tangible, and the excitement contagious. Yet, as you might imagine, the story was more complicated. The Solid Muldoon, as it turned out, was not a genuine prehistoric fossil. It was a carefully crafted hoax constructed from clay, bones, and plaster, designed to deceive and intrigue. And yet, even as deception, it tells a story, not just about gullibility, but about human fascination, imagination, and our deep yearning to connect with the distant past. Picture the scene of its unveiling. Scientists, journalists, and locals gathered around, eyes wide with anticipation. The body lay before them, rigid, monumental, almost magical in its presence. People reached out to touch it, running fingers along its stony surface, trying to discern truth from illusion. Some were convinced of its authenticity, others were skeptical, and all the while the figure remained still, silent, yet powerful in its ability to inspire curiosity. Think about the hands that created it. Someone had labored with meticulous care, shaping clay, embedding bones, sculpting details to mimic life. Every wrinkle, every ridge, every line was deliberate, and in this act there is a story of human creativity, of artistry, and of the desire to tell a narrative so compelling that people would suspend disbelief, if only for a moment. Even after the hoax was revealed, the solid Muldoon retained a strange, enduring magic. It became a symbol of the power of imagination, of the allure of mystery, and of the delicate balance between skepticism and wonder. Visitors still speak of it with fascination, reflecting on how easily we are drawn to stories of the impossible, how readily we let curiosity guide us into realms of wonder and uncertainty. Consider the cultural context of the time. The late 19th century was an era hungry for discovery. Newspapers thrived on sensational stories, people yearned to encounter the extraordinary, and the unknown held a power all its own. The solid Muldoon, in this way, was perfectly timed. A manifestation of both hope and human imagination, a mirror to society's desire to believe in the incredible. Let your thoughts drift along the story. Imagine the plains of Colorado stretching endlessly, the golden grass swaying in the wind, the sun low on the horizon. Picture the solid Muldoon resting in the earth, a frozen sentinel of curiosity, a reminder of how stories shape perception, inspire wonder, and leave traces that endure long after truth is revealed. The hoax also invites reflection on human nature. Why are we so drawn to the extraordinary? Why does the possibility of encountering something unknown or impossible captivate us so deeply? In the case of the solid Muldoon, the answer lies not in the reality of the object, but in the way it awakens our imagination, our sense of wonder, and our desire to believe in something greater than ourselves. As night falls over the plains, imagine standing alone beside the spot where the solid Muldoon once lay. The air grows still, the shadows deepen, and the figure seems to exist again, not as clay and bones, but as a ghost of curiosity, a reminder of the stories humans create and the mysteries we chase. You can almost hear the whispers of those who first discovered it, the murmurs of excitement, the awe, and the questions that lingered long after the truth was revealed. Even now, the legend of the solid Muldoon endures. It is no longer a petrified giant, but a symbol of human creativity, curiosity, and the enduring power of mystery. It teaches us that even in deception, there is truth, in the truths of imagination, wonder, and our desire to explore the unknown. And so, the plains of Colorado hold their quiet secret. Beneath the endless sky, where grass whispers with the wind, the solid Muldoon remains a story to ponder, a mystery that continues to stir curiosity, and a reminder that the world is full of wonders, both real and imagined, waiting to be discovered by anyone willing to look closely, dream deeply, and let curiosity guide the way. Matsying footprints, Botswana. In the wide, arid plains of southern Botswana, where the sun drapes the land in golden light and the wind carries a whisper of time itself, there exists a place where stone tells stories. Here, etched naturally into the rock, are the Matsying footprints, strange depressions that resemble human and feline-like forms, preserved in stone for millennia. Standing beside them, it is impossible not to feel a sense of quiet awe. Each groove, each indentation, seems deliberate, as though the earth itself had been shaped by beings walking across it long ago. The footprints are not small or subtle, they are bold, commanding attention yet silent, leaving their meaning open to imagination. Legend speaks of Matsying, a giant figure from local folklore who emerged from a waterhole and walked across the land, creating rivers, hills, and footprints along the way. The people of Botswana believe these footprints are the marks left by Matsying and his companions. Some are human, some feline, and some defy easy explanation. It is a story that bridges mythology and the tangible world, where stone and legend meet. Imagine yourself walking among the rocks, tracing the patterns with your eyes. The sun casts shifting shadows across the grooves, emphasizing their depth, their curves. You notice how some footprints are perfectly formed, others more abstract, as if time and weather have softened them. Yet despite erosion and centuries, they remain distinct, drawing the imagination inward, urging you to wonder about the beings who left them. Archaeologists have studied the Matsying footprints for decades, trying to determine their origin. Some suggest they are natural geological formations, created by erosion, pressure, and the unique composition of the stone. Others wonder if ancient humans deliberately carved them as part of rituals or to honor legends, and still, no definitive answer exists. The footprints resist certainty, and in doing so, they invite curiosity, imagination, and reverence. Consider the scale of the footprints. Some are large, as if left by giants, while others are smaller, almost human, yet oddly proportioned. The feline-like imprints are particularly intriguing, with shapes suggesting paws and claws, merging the world of humans and animals. There is a rhythm to their arrangement, a story told in stone that asks more questions than it answers. Let your mind drift. Imagine the plains long ago, the sun high and bright, rivers glinting like silver threads, wildlife moving silently across the savanna. Perhaps Matsying strode across this land, leaving his mark, accompanied by creatures both familiar and extraordinary. Perhaps the footprints were meant to teach, to warn, or to inspire those who would come after. There is a profound intimacy in these markings. They are not grand monuments or towering structures. They are simple impressions in stone, yet they speak across centuries. They remind us that stories, belief, and imagination can be etched into the world in subtle ways, leaving traces that invite reflection, wonder, and quiet contemplation. As you study them, it is easy to feel a connection to the past. You wonder about the people who told these stories, who walked these lands, who passed down the legends of Matsying. Perhaps they gazed at the same stones, tracing the grooves with their fingers, imagining giants, spirits, or divine beings shaping their world. The footprints are a bridge between their imagination and ours, a conversation across time. The Matsying footprints also invite reflection on the mystery of nature itself. How often do we encounter formations that feel intentional, yet may be entirely natural? How often does the world surprise us, blending science, myth, and perception in ways that leave us questioning what is real and what is story? The footprints do not answer these questions, but they encourage us to explore, to imagine, and to wonder. As the sun dips toward the horizon, the shadows lengthen, and the footprints take on an even more mysterious quality. They glow faintly in the golden light, each depression deepening, each curve highlighted. You can almost hear the whisper of the wind as it moves across the plains, as if carrying voices from the distant past, footsteps, chants, or perhaps the quiet passage of Matsying himself. Imagine sitting beside one of the larger impressions, running your fingers along its contours. The stone is cool and firm beneath your hand, yet alive with story. You feel a strange sense of presence, a quiet invitation to explore, to reflect, to imagine who or what created these markings, and why they have endured. These footprints, silent and immovable, remind us of the human fascination with the unknown. They teach patience, curiosity, and humility. They show that the world is full of wonders that may never be fully explained, yet still inspire awe, contemplation, and connection. And so the Matsying footprints remain, etched into the land, whispering their secrets softly to anyone willing to pause, observe, and wonder. They are more than impressions in stone. They are stories, mysteries, and invitations to explore the delicate boundary between legend, nature, and human imagination. As night falls over the plains of Botswana, the footprints rest quietly beneath the starlight. The wind moves gently across the landscape, carrying with it the echoes of myth, the whispers of giants, and the enduring call of curiosity. Standing there beside these ancient grooves, one cannot help but feel both small and connected, aware of the vastness of time, the persistence of story, and the quiet majesty of a mystery that has lasted for countless generations. In their stillness, the Matsying footprints speak softly, reminding us to slow down, to imagine, and to listen, not just with our ears, but with our hearts and minds. They are an enduring mystery, a quiet marvel, and a testament to the power of legend and the human desire to leave a mark upon the world. Lord of Sakar, Bulgaria. In the rolling hills of Bulgaria, where mist drifts softly across valleys and ancient forests murmur with the passage of time, archaeologists uncovered a remarkable secret. Beneath layers of soil and centuries of quiet earth, the remains of a warrior were found, resting in stillness for over 2,100 years. Known today as the Lord of Sakar, this figure is not only a skeleton but a storyteller, whispering the history of a life lived long before ours. Imagine standing at the edge of the burial mound, the wind brushing gently across your face, the scent of soil and moss lingering in the air. The earth holds its secret tightly, yet when the grave was opened, it revealed a treasure beyond imagination. The skeleton lay carefully positioned, with a gold wreath resting above the brow, a symbol of power, honor, and remembrance. Every bone, every artifact, every detail tells a story of status, skill, and ritual, waiting patiently for the modern eye to notice. The gold wreath is particularly captivating. Crafted with precision and artistry, it glimmers softly even after more than 2 millennia. Its delicate leaves and intricate design speak of a culture that valued craftsmanship, symbolism, and the eternal nature of honor. It is a crown not of kings, perhaps, but of warriors, of someone esteemed, someone whose memory demanded recognition and reverence. Alongside the skeleton, other treasures were carefully placed, ornaments, tools, and personal items, each reflecting a life of skill, devotion, and perhaps conquest. These objects whisper quietly about the world of the Lord of Sakar. a society of warriors and leaders, bound by tradition, status, and ritual. Through these artifacts, we can almost imagine the daily life of the individual who now rests silently beneath the soil. As you picture this, consider the care of the burial itself. The body was arranged with intention, the treasures positioned to honor the dead, and perhaps to assist him in a journey beyond the living world. This was not a hurried interment, it was deliberate, sacred, and imbued with meaning. Every placement speaks to a belief in life beyond death, a hope that the dead could continue to wield influence or communicate with the divine. Imagine the hands that placed the wreath, the fingers adjusting the delicate gold to rest perfectly above the brow. Perhaps there were chants, prayers, or songs sung in solemn reverence. Perhaps the community gathered, paying respect to a figure of importance, a person whose life mattered deeply. And now, thousands of years later, we are witnesses to their care, their rituals, and their beliefs. The skeleton itself is astonishingly well preserved. Every bone offers insight into the person's life, the strength of the arms, the posture of the shoulders, the shape of the skull. Scientists can trace injuries, lifestyle, and even aspects of personality through careful examination. And yet, it is not just science that speaks here. It is imagination, wonder, and reflection, a bridge connecting us to a life long gone, but not forgotten. There is something profoundly human about this discovery. Even after death, people sought to remember, to honor, to create continuity. The Lord of Sakar's burial reminds us that our ancestors shared the same desire to be acknowledged, respected, and remembered, a desire that transcends centuries, cultures, and continents. Now, imagine the landscape of ancient Bulgaria, rolling hills dotted with forests, streams reflecting sunlight, the distant calls of wildlife. In this setting, the Lord of Sakar lived, fought, and led. He may have been a leader, a strategist, or a warrior of renown, and when his life ended, he was honored with care, adorned with gold, and placed in a tomb that would endure time itself. Let your mind wander to the treasures beside him. Each object, from the smallest ornament to the intricately crafted wreath, carries stories of artisanship, culture, and belief. They are markers of identity and status, of achievements and social roles, and of a human desire to leave a trace, to be remembered across generations. As night falls over the hills, imagine standing beside the burial mound, under a sky scattered with stars. The air is still, the earth silent, yet beneath the surface, the Lord of Sakar rests, golden wreath gleaming faintly in memory. You feel the weight of history, the endurance of human intention, and the quiet power of a story that has traveled through millennia to meet you here. Even as centuries pass, the Lord of Sakar continues to speak, not with words but with presence, artifacts, and careful placement. The gold wreath, the skeleton, the treasures, they are storytellers, guiding us to reflect on life, mortality, and the enduring human quest for honor and remembrance. And so, the Lord of Sakar rests quietly, a sentinel of history, a whisper from the past, inviting us to wonder, to reflect, and to marvel at the depth, creativity, and reverence of the people who came before us. In the stillness of the burial mound, under the quiet of Bulgarian skies, the story continues, silent, golden, eternal, and profoundly human. Giant's Causeway, Northern Ireland. Along the rugged northern coast of Northern Ireland, where waves crash against cliffs and the wind carries the scent of the Atlantic, there lies a place that seems almost sculpted by giants. Stretching over the shoreline, the Giant's Causeway is a natural marvel, an expanse of about 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, each one a perfect geometric shape, fitting together like the pieces of an enormous puzzle crafted by some ancient hand. Imagine standing there, toes close to the cold stone, hearing the rhythmic pounding of the sea, feeling the mist on your skin. The columns rise from the earth in neat, hexagonal patterns, some standing waist-high, others taller than a man. The scene is at once orderly and wild, precise yet untamed, a paradox that sparks wonder and invites reflection. The Giant's Causeway is the result of volcanic activity that occurred millions of years ago. Lava flowed, cooled, and cracked into these distinct shapes, a geological process both natural and extraordinary. Over time, wind, water, and weather sculpted the formations further, polishing some, eroding others, yet the intricate pattern remained, a silent testimony to the power and patience of nature. Walking across the columns, it is easy to feel a sense of otherworldliness. Each step creates a rhythm, echoing softly against the stone. Some stones are slick with sea spray, some roughened by centuries of wind and rain. The surface itself seems alive, as if it remembers the molten heat from which it emerged, and carries that memory forward through millennia. Local legend weaves its own layer of mystery over the causeway. It is said that Fionn mac Cumhaill, a giant of Irish folklore, built this pathway across the sea to Scotland to confront a rival giant. Each column becomes a story, a step in a tale of heroism, rivalry, and the extraordinary. Walking there, one cannot help but imagine Fion striding across the basalt, leaving footprints that inspired both awe and caution in generations of storytellers. The causeway is not just a story in stone, it is a bridge between science and myth. The columns themselves remind us of geological time, the processes that shaped the earth long before humans walked upon it. Yet their regular, almost engineered shapes spark imagination, inviting myths and tales to coexist alongside facts. The lines between legend and reality blur, and in that space, curiosity thrives. Picture the scene at sunrise, when the first golden rays strike the columns. Shadows deepen in the cracks, revealing the subtle geometry and the intricate connections between each stone. The sea glimmers in the distance, waves dancing like liquid silver, and the wind carries the quiet history of this ancient place. Every step feels like a journey through time, a meditation on both the immense power of nature and the human imagination that has always sought to explain it. Some columns rise higher than others, forming natural steps and platforms. People have walked across them for centuries, drawn to their beauty, their uniqueness, and the mystery of their formation. Perhaps some paused to imagine giants striding across the Atlantic. Perhaps some simply marveled at the perfection of nature's geometry. In either case, the causeway continues to inspire reflection and wonder. The basalt itself holds secrets. The hexagonal patterns are a natural outcome of cooling lava, yet their perfection seems almost too precise, inviting endless curiosity and speculation. How did nature, without intention or design, create something so mathematically harmonious? It is a quiet reminder that wonder does not always come from humans. It can arise from the slow, patient forces of the earth itself. As you walk further along the coast, notice the interplay of stone, water, and sky. Waves crash against the edge of the causeway, sending spray into the air, and gulls wheel overhead, their cries echoing across the cliffs. The soundscape is alive yet meditative, grounding, as if the world itself is inviting you to pause, reflect, and imagine. The Giant's Causeway is also a story of endurance. Each column has withstood storms, wind, and centuries of sea spray. Each one remains, solid and patient, a monument to geological time. It encourages us to reflect on patience, permanence, and the quiet, enduring beauty that surrounds us, often unnoticed, until we choose to look closely. At dusk, the colors shift. Shadows stretch across the columns, the sea glows with the fading light, and the air grows still. You can almost hear the whispers of the past, stories carried on the wind, myths that have traveled through generations, and the eternal rhythm of Earth itself. The causeway becomes a meditative landscape, inviting both awe and introspection. Imagine tracing your hand across a column, feeling the cool, rough surface, sensing the weight of millions of years beneath your fingers. The rocks are silent, yet they speak in the language of time, geometry, and natural wonder. They remind us of our own smallness, and yet, through curiosity and imagination, they connect us to forces far greater than ourselves. Even as night falls and the causeway fades into shadow, the memory of its columns lingers. The Giant's Causeway is more than stone, it is a narrative of Earth's power, a tapestry of legend and science, a space where humans pause to wonder, reflect, and dream. And so the causeway remains, timeless and majestic, inviting anyone who walks upon it to slow down, to look closely, and to listen quietly, not with ears but with the mind and heart. Each column is a story, a mystery, a reminder that the world is full of wonders waiting to be discovered, pondered, and admired. The giant trilobite fossils, Morocco. In the sun-baked landscapes of Morocco, where desert sands meet rocky plateaus and the wind hums softly across the earth, there lie remnants of a world unimaginably old. Here, among the arid hills and fossil-rich strata, scientists and enthusiasts have uncovered trilobite fossils, not ordinary trilobites, but gigantic specimens, stretching far beyond the size we might expect. Some measuring over half a meter long. Imagine standing beside one of these ancient giants. The fossilized exoskeleton gleams faintly in the sunlight, the segmented body perfectly preserved, each ridge and spine a testament to life that existed hundreds of millions of years ago. The trilobite, a creature that lived long before humans walked the earth, seems almost alive, frozen mid-motion, its enormous size hinting at mysteries that science is still trying to fully understand. These fossils belong to a time when the land that is now Morocco was part of a shallow sea, teeming with life. Trilobites were among the first complex creatures on Earth, thriving in these ancient oceans, moving along the seabed with remarkable resilience and adaptability. Yet the specimens found here are unusually large, suggesting environmental conditions or evolutionary pressures that allowed some trilobites to grow to extraordinary proportions. As you walk along the fossil beds, you notice the intricate details of these creatures. Each segment of the exoskeleton, each ridge and groove, tells a story of adaptation and survival. The size alone invites awe and speculation. How could such a creature exist in a world so different from our own? Could these giant trilobites hint at unusual conditions in prehistoric seas, perhaps richer nutrients, fewer predators, or something we have yet to understand? Local legends add an extra layer of fascination. Some suggest that these fossils were the remains of prehistoric giants, beings of extraordinary size who once roamed the earth, long before humans came into existence. Stories pass down the centuries, describing enormous creatures whose footprints and exoskeletons left permanent impressions, now transformed into stone by the slow alchemy of time. Think about the fossilization process itself. Over millions of years, the trilobites' hard shells were buried under layers of sediment. Mineral-rich waters seeped in, gradually replacing organic material with stone. Pressure, heat, and time worked invisibly, yet with incredible precision, turning fragile remnants into enduring monuments of life, long vanished. To touch one of these fossils is to connect, however briefly, to an ancient world that defies imagination. The scale of these trilobites is astonishing. Ordinary trilobites might be just a few centimeters long, yet here, these giants stretch across your field of vision, dwarfing your hands and feet. They challenge our understanding of what life could achieve, and they remind us that the Earth's history is filled with surprises, creatures so large, so strange, that they seem almost mythical. As the sun moves across the sky, shadows fall along the ridges of the fossils. Their segments catch the light in patterns that seem both precise and chaotic, geometric yet organic. You might trace your fingers along the curves, imagining the motion of a living trilobite, sliding along the ancient seabed, its many legs and spines moving in rhythm with an ocean long gone. There is a quiet magic in standing beside these fossils. They evoke curiosity, wonder, and reflection. You think of the ancient seas, the currents and tides, the creatures that thrived in them, and the millions of years that passed to shape the world into what we see today. Each trilobite is a window into deep time, an invitation to contemplate the vastness of Earth's history and the fleeting nature of human life in comparison. Some scientists speculate about anomalous growth, environmental extremes, or even genetic variations that allowed these trilobites to reach such extraordinary sizes. Others leave space for imagination, wondering if perhaps the fossils were simply reminders of a world where life could defy expectation and scale. Whatever the explanation, the mystery is undeniable. As dusk approaches, imagine the desert cooling, shadows lengthening across the fossil beds. The wind moves softly, carrying with it the distant whispers of the past. You kneel beside a giant trilobite, tracing the segmented body, feeling the solidity of stone that was once living tissue. In that moment, the boundaries between imagination and reality blur. You feel the presence of life that existed long before humanity, a life so alien, so massive, yet intricately detailed and precise. The giant trilobite fossils of Morocco are not just remnants of biology, they are storytellers. They speak of evolution, adaptation, survival, and the astonishing possibilities of life on Earth. They inspire wonder, curiosity, and humility, reminding us of the depth of geological time and the countless mysteries that still lie buried beneath the surface. Even as night falls and the desert grows quiet, the fossils remain, silent yet powerful. They are records of a world that no longer exists, yet they continue to spark questions, imaginations, and dreams. Standing among them, one cannot help but feel the connection across time, a link to the extraordinary diversity of life and the enduring beauty of Earth's natural history. In their stillness, the trilobites invite us to reflect, to marvel, and to wonder. They encourage us to slow down, to imagine worlds long gone, and to appreciate the intricate details of life that existed long before we could even conceive of our own existence. And in that quiet reflection, the story of the giant trilobite fossils lives on, timeless, mysterious, and profoundly mesmerizing. The Nampa figurine, USA. In the rolling plains of Idaho, in the late 19th century, a discovery was made that would spark questions still lingering today. Buried deep beneath the sediments, at a depth few would dare to dig, lay a small clay figure, the Nampa figurine. Its discovery in 1889 astonished those who encountered it, challenging assumptions about the presence of humans in North America, long before most historians believed settlement was possible. Imagine standing at the excavation site, the soil soft beneath your feet, the wind rustling gently through nearby grasslands. As the earth is carefully brushed away, a small object emerges, no taller than a few inches, yet imbued with a quiet significance that reaches across centuries. The figurine's form is simple, its contours suggestive of a human shape, yet its very existence raises profound questions about time, history, and human migration. Archaeologists and skeptics alike have examined the figurine for over a century. Its humble appearance belies its mystery. Was it truly created by prehistoric humans, perhaps as far back as 2 million years ago according to some controversial estimates? Or was it a more recent creation, an artifact of misinterpretation or mistake? The debate itself has become part of the story, drawing attention to the broader quest for understanding the ancient past. Think about the hands that might have shaped it. Perhaps a prehistoric artisan carefully molded the clay, shaping the figure for ritual, for teaching, or simply for expression. Maybe it was held in ceremonies, passed from person to person, a symbol of belief or identity. Each tiny curve, each line of the figurine, speaks to the presence of human creativity, intent, and understanding, even across millennia. The depth at which the figurine was found adds another layer of intrigue. Buried under more than 9 meters of sediment, it suggests an age far greater than typical artifacts from the region. How did it come to rest there? Was it washed down by geological processes, or was it purposefully buried? Every theory offers a glimpse into both human history and the slow, powerful workings of the earth itself. Imagine the scene in 1889, excavators and locals carefully uncovering the clay figure, their curiosity mixed with disbelief. The figurine, small and unassuming, suddenly becomes a gateway to wonder. Questions arise. Questions about early human settlement in the Americas, about the movement of people, and about the artifacts they left behind. What story does this tiny object tell? What hands held it? What minds imagined it? And what world did it inhabit? Legends, skepticism, and scientific curiosity intertwine around the Nampa figurine. Some have dismissed it as a hoax or a misdated object, yet others continue to study it, fascinated by the possibilities it presents. The mystery lies not only in its origin, but in the silence that surrounds it, a silence that invites reflection, imagination, and contemplation of what human history truly encompasses. Consider the larger context, the prehistoric landscapes of North America, vast plains, flowing rivers, towering mountains, and the slow passage of glaciers and sediment. Humans navigating these landscapes would have created artifacts, left marks, and shaped their environment in ways that are nearly lost to time. The Nampa figurine is a rare connection, a tangible remnant that has survived the vast sweep of history, waiting patiently to be discovered. The figurine itself is delicate, almost fragile, yet it has endured, through shifting earth, natural forces, and centuries of being buried and forgotten. It reminds us that even the smallest artifacts can carry immense significance, telling stories not just of the people who made them, but of the world in which they lived, and the mysteries that remain hidden beneath our feet. As you reflect on the Nampa figurine, picture the prehistoric world, early humans moving carefully across plains, rivers cutting through the land, wildlife abundant and untamed. Perhaps someone shaped the figure, held it, cherished it, and then placed it in the earth with purpose. Time has preserved it silently, waiting for centuries until hands in 1889 revealed it once more. There is a quiet magic in its simplicity. The figurine does not boast grandeur, it does not demand attention, yet it compels us to wonder, to ask questions, and to explore the unseen depths of human history. Its presence is a whisper from the past, urging us to slow down, imagine, and connect with lives long gone. Even today, the Nampa figurine continues to spark curiosity. Researchers study it, historians debate it, and storytellers ponder its significance. And for those who approach it with quiet contemplation, it becomes a meditation on human ingenuity, persistence, and the enduring mysteries buried within the earth. Standing beside the place where it was discovered, or even just holding its story in your mind, you can feel the weight of time, the connection across generations, and the enduring allure of ancient artifacts. The Nampa figurine is more than clay, it is a bridge between past and present, inviting us to imagine, to reflect, and to marvel at the vast and mysterious history of human life. And so, buried yet discovered, silent yet compelling, the Nampa figurine endures as a testament to human curiosity, a small yet profound window into the distant past, and a reminder that even the tiniest objects can carry the weight of history, imagination, and mystery across the ages. Acámbaro figures, Mexico. In the quiet countryside of central Mexico, near the town of Acámbaro, a discovery was made that would puzzle historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts alike. Scattered across the hills and fields were thousands of small clay figurines, each carefully crafted, each frozen in time. What makes them extraordinary and deeply mysterious is what they depict: humans and dinosaurs together, side by side, in scenes that seem impossible according to mainstream history. Imagine standing among these figurines, their small forms delicate in your hands. There are men and women, hunters, warriors, children and farmers, and beside them dinosaurs, long-necked giants, horned beasts, winged predators, all molded with surprising attention to detail. Each piece is tiny, yet it holds an astonishing story, a whisper from a past that challenges what we thought we knew. The discovery was made in 1944 by a local man named Gustavo Estrada, who stumbled upon hundreds of these figurines while plowing his fields. Over the following years, archaeologists and collectors uncovered tens of thousands more, each one unique, each one inviting wonder and skepticism. The sheer volume and variety are staggering. These are not isolated curiosities, but an entire collection that hints at a world of lost knowledge or imagination beyond our understanding. As you study the figures, notice the detail. Dinosaurs are depicted with care. The curves of long necks, the spikes of armored backs, the open jaws of predators. Humans interact with them in ways that seem natural, riding them, hunting them, or simply living alongside them. The scenes evoke a narrative, a story that is both familiar and utterly alien. One cannot help but wonder, what inspired such artistry? What stories, legends, or memories are encoded in these tiny clay figures? Skeptics argue about the authenticity of the figures. Could they have been created in the 20th century, perhaps as a hoax or an elaborate artistic experiment? Others propose that they reflect a forgotten cultural memory, passed down through generations, preserving knowledge lost to time. And some suggest more extraordinary explanations, a time when humans and dinosaurs may have coexisted, or visions of a past unknown to modern science. Think about the hands that made them. Each figurine is molded with intention, each posture carefully chosen. Perhaps a potter sat under the sun, shaping the clay with quiet care, thinking of stories, myths, or lessons to impart. Perhaps each figure was part of a ritual or teaching method, a way to pass knowledge through generations in a form that could endure. The landscapes of Acambaro themselves add to the mystery. Rolling hills, fertile valleys, and distant mountains surround the area, as if the land itself were cradling these tiny witnesses to the past. Sunlight catches the clay, casting subtle shadows across the forms, highlighting intricate details. It is a place where imagination and reality converge, inviting reflection on the interplay between human creativity, memory, and belief. Consider the implications of these figures. If they are authentic, they suggest a remarkable vision of the past, a culture that recorded or imagined dinosaurs with precision. If they are modern, they still reflect the power of curiosity, the enduring fascination humans have with creatures that surpass our understanding. In either case, the Acambaro figures invite contemplation, a quiet meditation on the boundaries between fact, legend, and imagination. As dusk settles over the fields, the figurines seem almost alive. Shadows stretch across their tiny bodies, emphasizing the shapes and forms that have endured through time. You can imagine the stories told by the creators, passed quietly through generations, carried in the hearts and hands of people who long to preserve something extraordinary. There is a profound intimacy in these figurines. They are small, humble, yet they carry immense weight. They invite us to slow down, to observe closely, and to imagine a world in which humans and extraordinary creatures coexist, whether in memory, myth, or reality. Each figure, though tiny, becomes a portal to wonder, a key to curiosity, and a meditation on the vastness of possibility. Even today, the Acambaro figures inspire debate, fascination, and imagination. They remind us that history is not only recorded in grand monuments or written texts, but also in small, delicate objects that carry stories across generations. They are timeless storytellers, whispering to those who are willing to listen, inviting us to question, to wonder, and to dream. Imagine walking among the thousands of figures, feeling the weight of time in your hands. Each clay piece tells a fragment of a story, a fragment of culture, a fragment of imagination preserved in earth and fire. Together, they form a mosaic of possibility, a quiet testimony to the human desire to understand the world, the creatures within it, and our place in the vast, mysterious sweep of time. As night falls over Acambaro, the figurines rest silently, waiting to be discovered, contemplated, and understood. The wind rustles softly through the fields, carrying whispers of the past, the echoes of creation, and the enduring call of curiosity. Standing there, surrounded by these tiny witnesses, one cannot help but marvel at the artistry, mystery, and imagination preserved in clay. The Acambaro figures are more than artifacts. They are a bridge across time, a challenge to perception, and a reminder that the world still holds mysteries that defy explanation. They encourage us to slow down, to look closely, and to imagine, inviting us into a quiet, reflective journey through the improbable, the mysterious, and the wondrous. Pedra do Ingá, Brazil. Deep in the northeastern state of Paraíba, Brazil, there exists a rocky plateau where the past seems to whisper through stone. Here lies Pedra do Ingá, a massive rock formation covered with inscriptions, mysterious symbols carved so long ago that their meaning has been lost to time. These markings stretch across the surface, etched into the rock in patterns both intricate and enigmatic, inviting the imagination to wander and the mind to ponder. Imagine standing at the edge of this plateau, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin and the faint breeze carrying the scent of the earth. Before you, the stone rises, massive and silent, yet alive with markings that seem to pulse with ancient intent. The inscriptions are unlike anything found elsewhere in the world. Curves, lines, and shapes create a pattern that hints at language, astronomy, or perhaps something entirely unknown. A record from a civilization we can only imagine. Scholars have debated the meaning of Pedra do Inga for decades. Some suggest the symbols may represent celestial maps, detailing the stars, planets, and movements of the heavens. Others see ritualistic or religious significance, a form of communication with the gods or spirits. And yet, despite decades of study, the inscriptions remain undeciphered, their messages elusive, their secrets held tightly by the stone. As you trace the grooves with your eyes, it is easy to feel a sense of awe. The symbols vary in size and complexity, some small and delicate, others sweeping and grand. Each line seems intentional, each curve a part of a larger story. What were the hands that carved these symbols trying to convey? Did they represent knowledge, prophecy, or perhaps a language we have long forgotten? The rock itself adds to the mystery. Its surface is smooth in some areas, rough in others, shaped over millennia by wind, rain, and time. The carvings, though ancient, remain remarkably clear, as if the stone itself had chosen to preserve them for the future. Touching the rock, or even imagining running your fingers across the grooves, connects you to a past that feels distant, yet oddly intimate. Imagine the people who made these inscriptions. They must have spent countless hours on the rock, carefully carving each symbol with simple tools and steady hands. Perhaps they were astronomers, priests, or scribes. Perhaps they were ordinary people, trying to leave a mark on the world, to communicate across time. Whatever their reason, the effort speaks to human curiosity, creativity, and the desire to be remembered. The plateau stretches far and wide, and the symbols cover it generously, inviting exploration and reflection. Walking along the rock, you notice patterns that seem familiar, others that defy explanation. Some lines resemble animals, some geometric shapes, and others abstract forms that seem almost otherworldly. It is a landscape of mystery, where imagination and reality intertwine. Pedra do Inga reminds us that history is not only written in books or monuments. Sometimes it is carved into stone, silently waiting for us to notice. It challenges us to think, to wonder, and to embrace the unknown. Each symbol is a question, each groove a whisper from people long gone, inviting us to pause and reflect on the richness of human thought and creativity. As the sun dips toward the horizon, shadows stretch across the carvings, highlighting their depth and form. The light changes constantly, revealing new shapes, new possibilities, new mysteries. You might imagine the rock under moonlight, the symbols glowing softly, guiding ancient observers or recording celestial events in a language lost to time. There is a meditative quality to Pedra do Inga. Standing among the inscriptions, it is easy to feel a connection across millennia. The past seems present, the distant human hands seem near, and the mysteries they left behind invite quiet contemplation. Every moment spent observing the symbols is a meditation on curiosity, patience, and the endless quest for understanding. Even today, the rock continues to inspire wonder. Archaeologists, historians, and travelers alike are drawn to it, each with questions, each with awe. And yet the stone offers no answers, only silence, only the quiet persistence of a message, undeciphered, waiting for those willing to explore and imagine. The inscriptions at Pedra do Inga are more than carvings. They are a conversation across time, a testament to human ingenuity, and a reminder that even in the most remote corners of the world, mysteries endure. They invite us to slow down, observe, and reflect on the mysteries of history and the capacity of humans to leave lasting marks on the earth. As night falls over the plateau, the stone rests quietly under the stars. The wind whispers softly, carrying with it echoes of a long-lost civilization and the timeless human desire to communicate. Standing there, one feels both small and connected, aware of the vastness of time and the enduring allure of the unknown. The Pedra do Inga inscriptions remain a silent testament to mystery, inviting contemplation, wonder, and imagination. They remind us that history is not always meant to be fully understood, but to be experienced, appreciated, and pondered. In their stillness lies a quiet call to curiosity, a soft whisper of ancient knowledge, and a profound meditation on the persistence of human creativity. Tolstoy Skeletons, Russia. In the vast frozen expanses of Siberia, where winter winds sweep across endless forests and tundra, there have long been whispers of discoveries that defy ordinary explanation. Among the snow and permafrost, explorers and locals have reported finding humanoid skeletons of extraordinary size. Skeletons taller and broader than any ordinary human, with proportions that inspire awe, curiosity, and sometimes disbelief. These are known in some circles as the Tolstoy skeletons. Imagine standing in the Siberian wilderness, the cold biting gently at your skin, and coming across a skeletal figure so large it dwarfs your own frame. Each bone is massive, each joint robust, suggesting a being of immense strength. It is both fascinating and humbling to consider the life that once occupied such a body. How did these beings live? How did they move through the forests, the rivers, and the icy plains? Reports describe skeletons reaching heights far beyond the average human, with elongated limbs and large skulls, sometimes found partially buried under layers of soil, moss, and snow. They have been discovered in remote valleys, abandoned caves, and near riverbanks where the earth has slowly revealed them. Each find sparks wonder and speculation. Were these remnants of a forgotten human lineage, of giants that walked alongside ordinary humans, or perhaps something even stranger? Think of the hands that once held tools, weapons, or simple objects. The bones suggest a creature adapted to its environment, capable of remarkable feats of strength. The size alone challenges our understanding of human variation, inviting us to consider the possibility of beings whose existence lies just beyond the limits of recorded history. Local legends often intertwine with these discoveries. Siberian tribes tell stories of towering figures, mysterious beings who lived long ago in harmony with nature, or sometimes as guardians of sacred places. Could these oral histories preserve memories of real giants, beings now lost to time? Or are they metaphors, expressing the awe humans feel toward the untamed wilderness? Imagine a Tolstoy skeleton uncovered at sunrise, the first light glinting off the icy surfaces of the bones. The surrounding forest is quiet, save for the distant call of birds or the whisper of wind through the trees. Each bone, each joint, tells a story of a life that moved through this harsh yet beautiful landscape, a life that existed long before modern records, long before cameras, maps, or written histories. The discovery of these skeletons often sparks debate. Skeptics argue about misidentification, exaggeration, or fossilized remains of large animals mistaken for human bones. Yet some remain convinced of their authenticity, citing detailed measurements, consistent reports, and the mysterious aura that seems to accompany each find. Whatever the truth, the Tolstoy skeletons captivate the imagination, drawing explorers, historians, and curious minds to the remote regions of Siberia. Consider the daily life of such beings: hunting, foraging, crafting shelters, navigating rivers and forests. Life would have required incredible resilience and adaptability. The bones suggest physical prowess beyond our own, hinting at stories of survival, dominance, and interaction with the environment that we can only imagine. Standing over a skeleton, one cannot help but reflect on time. Centuries have passed since this being walked the earth. Civilizations rose and fell, forests grew and receded, rivers carved new paths, and yet these bones endure, silent witnesses to a world we may never fully understand. They are a bridge across time, connecting us to a reality at once familiar and utterly alien. The Siberian wilderness adds to the sense of mystery, vast, quiet, and unyielding. It preserves its secrets with patience and power. In this stillness, the skeletons rest undisturbed for decades, perhaps centuries, waiting for humans to uncover them and wonder. Each find is a meditation on the impermanence of life, the resilience of the earth, and the enduring fascination of beings larger than ourselves. As night falls over Siberia, the skeletons remain under the frozen sky, the auroras dancing faintly above, the cold wind carrying whispers of ages past. Their silence is profound, yet it speaks volumes to those willing to listen. The Tolstoy skeletons remind us that the world is vast, mysterious, and full of wonders waiting to be discovered, pondered, and imagined. These giant humanoid skeletons, whether myth, misinterpretation, or forgotten lineage, challenge our understanding of human history. They invite reflection, inspire curiosity, and encourage us to think beyond what we know. They are monuments not built by hands, but by time itself, a record of possibility, endurance, and the mysteries that the earth quietly guards. And so, in the frozen heart of Siberia, the Tolstoy skeletons endure, silent yet profound. They are reminders of the unknown, guardians of ancient secrets, and invitations to slow down, imagine, and wonder. In their stillness lies the beauty of mystery, the kind that captivates the mind, calms the spirit, and carries the imagination far beyond the ordinary, into the depths of history and the whispers of giants long gone. The Weeping Stones of Yakutia, Russia. Deep in the frozen wilderness of Yakutia, in the far reaches of Siberia, there exist stones that have fascinated and puzzled locals for centuries. Known as the Weeping Stones, these rocks are said to exude moisture, as though the earth itself is shedding silent tears. The phenomenon is subtle, mysterious, and deeply evocative, a quiet reminder that even the inanimate can seem alive when observed with attention and wonder. Imagine standing on the frozen ground, the cold air sharp against your face, the endless expanse of snow and ice stretching toward the horizon. Among the rocks scattered across the landscape, some glisten faintly. Tiny droplets form on their surfaces, slowly accumulating, almost as if the stones are quietly weeping. There is a stillness here that encourages reflection, a meditative calm, as though the world has paused to allow you to witness something both strange and beautiful. The origins of the weeping stones remain uncertain. Some scientists suggest that the moisture is a natural result of underground springs or condensation caused by temperature changes. Others have proposed that unique mineral compositions allow the stones to absorb water from the atmosphere, releasing it slowly over time. Yet the local legends speak of something far more mystical. Yakutian folklore describes the stones as guardians of memory, remnants of ancient spirits, or witnesses to forgotten tragedies. Villagers tell stories of people who came to the stones seeking guidance or solace, leaving offerings and prayers as the stones wept silently in response. The sensation of standing beside them, listening to the subtle sound of dripping water, is said to be profoundly moving, an intimate connection to the mysteries of nature and the echoes of the past. Picture approaching a weeping stone at twilight, the sun low on the horizon, shadows stretch across the icy tundra, and the faint light catches on the droplets forming on the rock's surface. There is a rhythm here, a slow and patient cadence to the stone's tears, as though it is breathing in sync with the wind, or responding to some hidden pulse beneath the earth. Each droplet is a testament to time, endurance, and the quiet power of nature. The weeping stones also invite curiosity about the environment itself. Yakutia is one of the coldest inhabited regions on Earth, with permafrost dominating the soil and winter dominating the calendar. In such extreme conditions, any natural phenomenon that defies expectation captures attention and wonder. How does moisture collect in these stones despite the freezing temperatures? What processes, hidden beneath the surface, allow this silent weeping to occur? Walking among the stones, you notice the subtle variations between them. Some are smooth and rounded, others jagged and imposing. Each stone seems to have its own personality, its own story. Some weep more visibly, while others only glisten faintly in the cold light. It is as though the landscape itself is alive, breathing slowly, speaking quietly to those willing to notice. Local tales often suggest that the weeping stones are reminders of human fragility and the passage of time. Travelers and elders describe a sense of humility when standing near them, a feeling that one is being watched over or acknowledged by forces larger than ourselves. It is a gentle, meditative experience, encouraging patience, introspection, and a deeper awareness of the natural world. The formation of these stones over millennia, shaped by glacial movements, erosion, and frost, adds another layer to their mystery. They are not mere rocks, they are records of ancient processes, silent witnesses to the slow transformation of the Siberian landscape. Each drop of water they release is a whisper of time, a reminder that even the seemingly immobile is connected to cycles of life, climate, and the Earth's rhythms. Imagine spending an hour beside a weeping stone. The cold air brushes against your face, the snow crunches softly beneath your feet, and the faint sound of dripping water fills the quiet. In this stillness, one can reflect on the vastness of the world, the depth of time, and the smallness of human life in comparison. Yet paradoxically, there is also connection, a bridge between the observer and the ancient silent mysteries of the earth. The weeping stones of Yakutia are more than curiosities, they are meditative guides, portals to reflection, and enigmas that challenge our understanding of the natural world. They remind us that mystery exists not only in grand structures or legendary artifacts, but also in subtle, quiet phenomena that reveal themselves only to patient eyes and attentive minds. As night falls, the tundra darkens and the stones glisten faintly under the stars. Their tears continue, unnoticed by most, yet persistent and enduring. They are reminders that even in silence, there is life, presence, and mystery. The stones speak softly to those willing to listen, carrying the whispers of time, the memory of the landscape, and the enduring beauty of natural wonder. The weeping stones of Yakutia endure as guardians of mystery, inviting reflection, curiosity, and imagination. They are an enduring testament to the quiet, subtle, and profound enigmas of the world, encouraging us to slow down, observe, and immerse ourselves in the beauty of the unknown. Copper-infused skeletons, Kazakhstan. In the vast steppes of Kazakhstan, archaeologists have uncovered something that seems to blur the line between history and mystery. Skeletons with unusual copper traces embedded within the bones themselves. These copper-infused skeletons are unlike ordinary human remains. Their metallic composition hints at practices, technologies, or phenomena that continue to baffle experts and ignite curiosity in anyone who encounters them. Imagine walking across the dry, windswept plains, the soil crunching softly beneath your feet. Here and there, excavations reveal fragments of human bones, partially fossilized, partially mineralized. And among these fragments, a strange glimmer catches your eye, a subtle metallic sheen. As the bones are carefully unearthed, the realization emerges: copper has somehow integrated with the skeletal material, creating a preservation unlike anything commonly found in archaeology. The age of these remains is extraordinary. Dating suggests that these skeletons belong to early human settlements, possibly thousands of years old, long before modern metallurgy, as we understand it, became widespread. The presence of copper within the bones raises questions that continue to defy simple answers. Was it a deliberate process, a burial ritual involving metal? Or did natural processes in the soil and minerals lead to this unusual infusion? Consider the people who once walked these lands. They hunted, they built, they lived intimately with the earth around them. And now, long after their lives ended, traces of their existence are transformed, in part, into something resembling metal. Each skeleton, each fragment, offers a glimpse into a world where life and the minerals of the earth intertwined in mysterious ways. The metallic sheen of copper within the bones is not merely visual, it inspires speculation and wonder. Some scientists suggest that the soil in which these skeletons were buried was unusually rich in copper, slowly depositing the mineral into the bones over centuries. Others propose that ancient peoples may have employed techniques or rituals involving copper, a practice lost to history, and some even entertain more extraordinary explanations. A forgotten technology, or perhaps a level of metallurgical understanding far beyond what we typically attribute to that era. Imagine holding a fragment of one of these skeletons, its surface smooth in some areas, textured in others, with copper glinting faintly as light catches it. You feel connected to a person who lived thousands of years ago, yet the metallic transformation adds a layer of mystery. This individual, once entirely human, now carries a silent story, encoded in both bone and metal. Local legends of the region speak of metal bearers, ancestors who were somehow intertwined with the earth's minerals, possessing strength or vitality drawn from copper itself. These tales may be echoes of a cultural memory, stories passed down through generations, capturing fragments of truth in the form of myth. Whether legend or coincidence, the copper-infused skeletons give these stories a tangible grounding. Walking among the excavation site, one notices the surrounding landscape, endless steppes, distant hills, and a sky that stretches to the horizon. The wind moves softly, carrying with it the scent of the soil, the whispers of history, and the quiet presence of lives long gone. In this serene and remote setting, the copper within the bones seems to shimmer like a link between the earth, the past, and the mysteries that remain hidden beneath the surface. These skeletons are not merely curiosities, they are a testament to the intersection of human life and the natural world. The fusion of bone and metal encourages reflection on mortality, preservation, and the ways in which time transforms everything. They remind us that the earth itself can become a medium for storytelling, slowly recording history in forms that challenge our understanding and ignite our imagination. As the sun sets over the Kazakh steppes, shadows stretch across the excavation site, and the copper in the skeletons glimmers faintly in the fading light. There is a stillness here that encourages meditation, a gentle pause to consider the passage of time, the resilience of human life, and the subtle mysteries that persist long after civilizations rise and fall. Even today, researchers continue to study these skeletons, analyzing mineral compositions, soil conditions, and archaeological context. Yet the deeper questions remain. Why copper? Was it intentional, symbolic, or entirely natural? Each skeleton is a fragment of a puzzle that may never be fully solved, but each discovery invites awe, curiosity, and reflection. The copper-infused skeletons of Kazakhstan are more than remnants of the past. They are bridges across time, connecting us to people, practices, and phenomena we can only partially comprehend. They encourage us to slow down, to observe carefully, and to imagine worlds where the boundaries between life, death, and the earth's minerals are far more fluid than we might expect. As night falls, the steppes grow silent, the stars emerging over the horizon. The skeletons, shimmering faintly with copper, remain in their resting place, guardians of an enduring mystery. They whisper softly to those who listen, inviting curiosity, meditation, and wonder. In their stillness, they offer a connection to history, to the earth, and to the endless possibilities of the unknown. The copper-infused skeletons endure as silent storytellers, challenging our understanding, inspiring awe, and inviting contemplation. They remind us that the world is full of mysteries waiting patiently beneath the surface, and that even in the quietest, most remote corners of the earth, history continues to whisper its secrets to those willing to listen. Spoon-shaped petroglyphs, Mongolia. Across the vast, windswept steppes of Mongolia, where the horizon seems to stretch endlessly and the sky feels closer than the earth itself, there are rocks that bear silent witness to humanity's distant past. Among them, archaeologists and travelers have discovered peculiar markings known as the spoon-shaped petroglyphs. These carvings, etched into stone long ago, have puzzled researchers and inspired wonder, as they depict elongated spoon-like forms whose purpose remains enigmatic even today. Imagine walking across the steppes, the grass whispering softly beneath your feet, the air crisp and dry. There, rising from the ground, are the rocks, their surfaces smooth from centuries of wind and weather. Upon close inspection, you notice the grooves and depressions, shallow yet deliberate. Each one is shaped like a spoon, curved, elongated, precise. It is immediately apparent that these are not random scratches, but carefully crafted symbols, created by hands long vanished. The age of these petroglyphs is difficult to determine with certainty. Some estimates place them thousands of years back, perhaps created by nomadic tribes who roamed these plains, leaving their mark upon the landscape. But why spoons? What could have inspired such a repeated, distinctive motif? Some speculate that they were ritualistic, ceremonial, or symbolic, perhaps related to the act of offering, nourishment, or a spiritual practice now forgotten. Picture the people who made these carvings. Under the wide-open sky, they worked with stone tools, carefully etching each curve into the rock. Perhaps the work took hours, maybe even days, requiring patience and intent. Each mark carried meaning, a language unspoken, a story of life, belief, or observation. Every spoon-shaped depression is a whisper from the past, waiting for those who approach it slowly, mindfully, and with curiosity. The surrounding landscape adds to the mystery. Mongolia's steppes are both harsh and beautiful, rolling hills, sparse vegetation, and endless skies. This isolation, combined with the simplicity of the petroglyphs, creates a meditative space. One can imagine the creators pausing frequently, looking over the plains, feeling the wind, and embedding their observations and intentions into the stone for future generations to encounter. Scholars have debated their significance for decades. Some suggest astronomical alignment, claiming that the grooves may relate to the position of the sun or stars at particular times of the year. Others see them as symbols of water, life, or sustenance, perhaps connected to ancient beliefs about survival in the harsh steppe environment. Yet no interpretation has been universally accepted, leaving the petroglyphs shrouded in quiet mystery. Imagine visiting the site at dawn, the sun just rising over distant hills, casting a soft glow across the carved stones. Shadows form along the grooves, highlighting the curves of each spoon-shaped mark. There is a rhythm to the carvings, a repetition that soothes and fascinates simultaneously. They encourage contemplation, reflection, and a gentle curiosity about the people who left them behind. Consider the hands that crafted them, the intention behind each groove, and the patience required to etch into solid rock without the aid of metal tools. The petroglyphs are a testament to human perseverance, creativity, and the desire to communicate beyond immediate time. They are small yet profound, humble yet enduring, a quiet meditation on human expression and the passage of time. The spoon-shaped petroglyphs also invite reflection on human perception and imagination. They remind us that not all meaning is obvious, not all purpose is immediately clear. Some messages are subtle, encoded in forms that challenge our understanding, requiring us to slow down, observe, and imagine. Each time someone studies these carvings, a dialogue unfolds between past and present, mystery and discovery, silence and interpretation. Even today, visitors approach the rocks with reverence and wonder. Scholars measure and map, travelers photograph and sketch. Yet the petroglyphs themselves remain quiet, patient, and enigmatic. They encourage a slower pace, inviting observers to sit, breathe, and absorb the stillness of the landscape, to let the mysteries unfold gently, like a story whispered across centuries. As night falls over the Mongolian steppes, the stones glisten faintly under the starlight. The wind moves softly, carrying the scent of earth and grass, and the petroglyphs seem to shimmer with the memory of those who carved them. Each groove is a line in a story that remains unfinished, a conversation that continues in silence, inviting reflection, imagination, and awe. The spoon-shaped petroglyphs of Mongolia are more than markings on stone. They are bridges across time, reminders of human curiosity and expression, and invitations to slow down and marvel at the subtle mysteries of the world. They speak quietly, urging us to imagine, to wonder, and to connect with the creativity and intention of minds long past. In their stillness lies a meditation on time, presence, and the enduring beauty of mystery. They remind us that even the simplest forms, a groove, a curve, a repeated motif, can carry profound meaning, waiting patiently for those who are willing to look, reflect, and dream. The Hanging Boulder of Benares, India. In the sacred city of Benares, also known as Varanasi, where the Ganges flows with timeless grace and devotion, there exists a boulder that defies logic, gravity, and expectation. Known simply as the Hanging Boulder, this massive rock rests precariously on the edge of a cliff, as though held by an unseen hand. Its presence has fascinated pilgrims, travelers, and scientists alike for centuries, standing as a quiet testament to mystery and wonder. Imagine standing at the foot of this cliff, feeling the warm Indian sun on your skin, and listening to the distant chants along the river. Above you, the boulder seems impossibly suspended. Its sheer size is impressive, and yet it teeters with subtle grace, anchored by nothing that seems sufficient to hold it in place. One cannot help but wonder, how did it come to rest here? What forces of nature, or human intervention, placed it in this extraordinary position? Legends surround the hanging boulder, weaving stories of gods, kings, and miracles. Local lore says it was placed there by divine hands, a gift or test, a challenge to human understanding. Some claim that it marks sacred ground, a point where heaven and earth meet, a silent witness to countless prayers and rituals performed over millennia. Others suggest that it embodies the balance of nature itself, perfectly poised, reminding all who behold it of harmony and equilibrium. Scientific inquiry offers its own fascination. Geologists study the boulder, examining the rock type, erosion patterns, and the cliff's formation. Natural explanations suggest that millennia of geological activity, weathering, tectonic shifts, and erosion could have gradually positioned the boulder here. Yet even with careful analysis, the precise balance it maintains seems almost miraculous, a marvel of physics that invites awe as much as curiosity. Picture the generations of observers who have gazed at this boulder. Pilgrims making their way along the sacred ghats, scholars recording measurements, children daring one another to approach. Each witness experiences a blend of reverence, wonder, and disbelief. The hanging boulder is a quiet teacher, showing that the world is often stranger and more beautiful than we can fully comprehend. Its presence invites reflection on time and impermanence. The boulder has remained poised for centuries, weathering monsoons, heat, and earthquakes. In its stillness, one can meditate on patience, resilience, and the passage of time. It is as if the earth itself is demonstrating a delicate balance, urging us to slow down, observe, and contemplate the forces that shape our world. Imagine approaching the boulder as dusk falls over Benares. The fading sunlight casts long shadows across the cliff, highlighting the contours of the massive rock. The air is cool, carrying the distant scent of the river and incense from nearby temples. The boulder seems to hum with history, holding secrets of the past, of rituals, and of natural wonders that predate human memory. Some claim that the hanging boulder is imbued with spiritual energy. Devotees whisper prayers as they pass, placing flowers or tying threads to nearby stones, believing that the boulder amplifies intentions and blessings. Whether this is faith, tradition, or something more mysterious, the effect is profound. It transforms observation into reflection, curiosity into reverence, and wonder into a meditative state. The boulder also serves as a reminder of humanity's smallness in the grand scale of nature. Standing beneath it, one feels both awe and humility, aware that forces beyond comprehension have shaped this rock, positioned it, and preserved it. It is a quiet testament to the enduring interplay between geology, time, and human perception. Even today, the hanging boulder continues to captivate scientists, travelers, and spiritual seekers. Its mystery is not easily solved, and perhaps that is its greatest charm. It asks nothing of us except attention and contemplation, inviting us to sit, breathe, and allow curiosity to unfold slowly, like the gentle flow of the Ganges itself. As night descends on Benares, the boulder rests silently on the cliff, bathed in moonlight. The city hums with life below, yet here, in this quiet corner of the world, the boulder remains untouched by time, a silent guardian of wonder. It whispers softly to those who pause, encouraging reflection, meditation, and an appreciation for mysteries that defy explanation. The hanging boulder of Benares is more than a rock. It is a meditation in stone, a lesson in balance, and a timeless reminder that the world still holds secrets that inspire awe and contemplation. It calls to the mind and the spirit alike, inviting slow observation, quiet curiosity, and the kind of wonder that lingers long after one has walked away. In its stillness, in its improbable poise, the boulder becomes a teacher, a mystery, and a quiet companion for anyone willing to embrace the unknown. It reminds us that the earth itself is an artist, a sculptor, and a keeper of stories, each waiting patiently for those who take the time to notice. Fossilized human footwear. Morocco. In the arid landscapes of Morocco, where the desert stretches endlessly under a blazing sun and the wind whispers across ancient dunes, archaeologists have uncovered something extraordinary: fossilized human footwear. These relics, preserved through millennia, offer a rare glimpse into lives lived long ago, into daily routines, journeys, and choices that have long since faded into history. Imagine walking across these deserts, feeling the soft crunch of sand beneath your feet, the heat rising from the earth. Among the scattered rocks and fossils, you notice the unmistakable impression of a shoe. Though unlike any modern footwear, it is carefully shaped, the sole worn by use, the contours formed to fit a human foot long forgotten. This is not merely a trace of clothing, it is a bridge across time, connecting the present to a distant past. The age of these fossilized shoes is staggering. Some estimates place them thousands of years old. perhaps belonging to early humans or their immediate ancestors. In a region where survival depended on adaptation, the footwear tells a story of ingenuity, protection, and movement. The materials used, whether leather, plant fibers, or other substances, speak to the resourcefulness of those who crafted them, using whatever the environment offered to create something both functional and enduring. Picture the person who wore these shoes. Perhaps they walked across deserts in search of water, following herds of animals, or journeyed from one settlement to another. Every step they took pressed their feet into the ground, leaving traces that eventually fossilized. In that fossilization, we glimpse their path, their presence, and a life that unfolded across landscapes harsh, beautiful, and alive. The preservation of these shoes is a quiet marvel. Over centuries, layers of sediment, sand, and minerals slowly encased the footwear, protecting it from decay. What was once soft and perishable hardened into stone-like durability, allowing modern humans to study, touch, and imagine. Each crease, each worn spot, each curve in the sole tells a story of daily life, of journeys both small and vast, of experiences felt through the act of walking, moving, and surviving. Local legends in Morocco speak of the footprints in shoes left by ancestors, sometimes describing travelers, sometimes mythical figures who wandered the deserts long ago. Could these fossilized shoes be connected to such stories? Perhaps they are physical echoes of tales passed down orally, preserving memory in a form far more permanent than storytelling alone. Imagine holding one of these fossilized shoes. Its weight is surprising, the texture both rough and strangely familiar. Running your fingers along the impressions, you feel the rhythm of a life once lived, the care taken to craft protective footwear, and the endurance required to traverse such a challenging landscape. Each shoe is a meditation on human ingenuity, resilience, and the quiet persistence of daily life. Archaeologists study these shoes carefully, measuring, photographing, and analyzing their composition. The soles, their shapes, and any accompanying traces of material reveal not only practical design but also cultural and technological insight. In their silence, the fossilized shoes speak volumes about human adaptation, creativity, and the intimate relationship between people and their environment. Consider the broader implications. These shoes are more than artifacts. They are evidence of movement across time and space, of humans shaping their environment and leaving marks that endure far longer than the bodies that wore them. Each fossilized shoe is a story of survival, of journeys undertaken in the face of harsh conditions, and of the unbroken thread of human experience stretching across millennia. Picture standing among the desert sands as dusk falls. The wind whispers softly, the temperature cools, and the fossils glint faintly in the fading light. One can imagine the footsteps of those who walked here long ago, carrying supplies, hunting, exploring, or simply moving from one place to another. There is a quiet poetry in the preservation of something so intimate, so essential, as footwear. The fossilized human footwear of Morocco reminds us that history is not only recorded in monumental architecture or grand artifacts. Sometimes it is hidden in the small, humble objects of daily life, preserved by chance or by nature's careful hand. These shoes are a testament to human creativity, endurance, and the subtle ways in which ordinary life becomes extraordinary when viewed across the lens of time. As night falls over the Moroccan desert, the fossilized shoes remain in their resting places, silent and enduring. They are guardians of mystery, inviting reflection, curiosity, and wonder. Each piece connects us to a distant past, reminding us that the ordinary details of life, steps taken, paths traveled, shoes worn, carry meaning and history that can endure far beyond a single lifetime. The fossilized human footwear is more than a remnant of the past. It is a meditation on human experience, a bridge across millennia, and a quiet mystery waiting to be contemplated. In its stillness, it encourages slow observation, gentle reflection, and the kind of curiosity that carries the imagination across time and space. The Silverfinger's Burial, Iran. In the ancient lands of Iran, where desert plains meet rugged mountains and the whispers of countless civilizations linger in the air, archaeologists uncovered a burial unlike any other. It is known as the Silverfinger's Burial, named for the striking discovery of hands adorned with silver extensions, delicate, glimmering, and utterly mysterious. The discovery has fascinated historians, anthropologists, and curious minds alike, inviting speculation about rituals, status, and beliefs from thousands of years ago. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet excavation site, the sunlight warming the soil, the wind carrying dust and history across the landscape. Here, beneath layers of earth, a skeleton lies undisturbed, yet remarkable. Its hands are decorated with long silver fingernails, carefully crafted and placed as if to preserve something of the individual's essence, status, or identity. The effect is both delicate and profound, a reminder that even in ancient times, humans sought to express themselves through artistry and symbolism. The age of this burial is remarkable. Scholars estimate it dates back several thousand years, a time when metallurgy was sophisticated, yet still mysterious to us today. The use of silver, a precious metal even now, speaks of wealth, importance, or ritual significance. But why fingers? Why adorn the hands which once reached, touched, and created? Some believe the silver was meant to symbolize power, to enhance the touch of the deceased in the afterlife, or to act as a bridge between the living and the spiritual world. Picture the individual in life, walking through desert settlements, performing daily tasks, crafting tools, tending livestock, or participating in ceremonies. Each gesture made with those hands would have carried intention, skill, and meaning. And now, centuries later, those hands are frozen in a silent testament to human creativity and ritual, preserved beneath layers of soil and time. Local legends in the region speak of hands that shimmer beyond death, tales of rulers or spiritual figures whose influence extended beyond their earthly lives. Could this burial be connected to such stories? Perhaps these silver extensions were part of funerary rites designed to honor, empower, or preserve the individual's presence. The symbolism may be lost to us, yet the physical trace remains, glowing faintly as a link to the imagination, devotion, and belief of ancient people. Archaeologists examine every detail, the placement of each silver nail, the length and curvature, the condition of the bones, and the surrounding artifacts. Together, these clues weave a story of careful craftsmanship, cultural significance, and reverence. Each finger tells a tale, suggesting that even small details were imbued with meaning, care, and intention. Imagine visiting the burial at twilight. The desert wind moves softly across the excavation, dust particles dancing in the fading sunlight. The silver fingers glint faintly in the dim light, reflecting the last rays of sun. There is a sense of intimacy, as if the hands themselves are reaching across time, connecting the observer to the life that once existed in this place. The effect is meditative, calming, and profoundly humanizing. The silver fingers burial invites reflection on mortality, artistry, and the ways humans express themselves. It reminds us that even in death, there was concern for beauty, dignity, and presence. The hands, simple yet adorned, speak to a desire to leave an impression, an enduring connection to the world and the people who would come after. Consider the broader context. Ancient Iran was home to civilizations rich in ritual, symbolism, and craftsmanship. Jewelry, metalwork, and burial practices all held layers of meaning. Yet the silver fingers stand apart, a subtle, intimate detail that captivates the imagination far more than grand structures or monumental tombs. It is in these small gestures that humanity reveals its deepest concerns, hopes, and artistry. As night falls over the desert, the burial rests beneath the cool stars. The silver glimmers softly, a quiet echo of human life, long gone. The wind whispers through the surrounding sands, carrying the stories of ancestors, travelers, and those who lived and died here. In their silence, the fingers speak of care, intention, and the enduring desire to leave a mark upon the world. The silver fingers burial of Iran is more than an archaeological find. It is a meditation on life, death, and the ways humans seek to preserve themselves across time. It invites slow reflection, quiet curiosity, and the kind of immersive wonder that turns a discovery into a story that lingers, calms, and inspires. The crystal skulls of Patagonia, Argentina. In the windswept and rugged landscapes of Patagonia, where jagged mountains meet vast plains and icy rivers carve the earth, there exists a mystery that has captured the imagination of explorers, historians, and adventurers alike: the crystal skulls. These objects, carved from pure quartz, are said to resemble human skulls in astonishing detail, and their origin, purpose, and power remain subjects of debate, speculation, and quiet wonder. Imagine standing on a remote Patagonian plateau, the wind brushing softly against your skin, the horizon stretching endlessly in all directions. Beneath your gaze lies a collection of crystal objects, their translucent surfaces catching the faint light, glimmering with an ethereal glow. At first glance they appear delicate, almost fragile, yet their craftsmanship speaks of incredible skill, precision, and care. These are not ordinary sculptures, they are skulls, carved with uncanny anatomical accuracy, and they seem to carry a presence that transcends their physical form. The age of these crystal skulls is uncertain. Some claim they are ancient, created thousands of years ago by unknown civilizations, their origins lost to time. Others suggest they are more recent, perhaps crafted by skilled artisans influenced by local myths. What is certain, however, is that they evoke deep curiosity and fascination. The smooth curves of the craniums, the hollow eye sockets, and the precise teeth all convey a sense of intention, purpose, and reverence for life, death, and the mysteries that lie beyond. Local legends in Patagonia speak of skulls with the power to see, to heal, or even to hold knowledge of the world's past and future. shamans and elders tell stories of crystal skulls that were passed down through generations, objects that connected the living with ancestors, spirits, and the natural forces that shaped the land. Whether myth or reality, these tales have imbued the skulls with a sense of quiet power, drawing those who encounter them into reflection and wonder. Picture holding one of these crystal skulls in your hands. The weight is solid, yet balanced, smooth yet detailed, cool yet somehow alive under your touch. There is a sense of connection, a bridge across time between the hand that carved it and your own. You imagine the artist, meticulously shaping each curve and indentation, working by hand to bring stone to life. Perhaps the skull was a ceremonial object, a talisman, or a tool for contemplation and meditation. Its purpose may be lost, yet its presence continues to inspire awe. The skulls also raise questions about human ingenuity and knowledge. Quartz is a hard material, difficult to shape without advanced tools. How could ancient peoples have carved these skulls with such precision? Did they possess techniques now forgotten, or is there a deeper mystery hidden in the way these objects came to be? Each question lingers, unanswered, inviting curiosity and meditation. Consider the broader environment of Patagonia. Its vastness, its remoteness, and its natural beauty create a setting where mystery thrives. The mountains echo with silence, the rivers flow steadily, and the skies shift with wind and cloud. In such a place, objects like the crystal skulls take on additional weight, as if the land itself has shaped them, imbued them with meaning, and preserved them for those patient enough to find them. As you explore the site, you notice the subtle imperfections in each skull, evidence of human touch and intention. These imperfections are not flaws, they are markers of life, of labor, of the connection between maker and material. Each skull is unique, yet together they form a chorus of mystery, suggesting a culture, a practice, or a ritual long vanished, leaving only traces for the curious to ponder. Imagine the scene at twilight, when the Patagonian sky is painted with muted shades of purple and gold. The skulls glint faintly in the fading light, casting long shadows across the rocky ground. The air is cool, filled with the soft hum of wind, and the silence seems to amplify the sense of presence these objects hold. It is a quiet moment of reflection, a pause to consider the mysteries that endure through time. The crystal skulls are not merely artifacts, they are invitations. They ask us to slow down, to observe carefully, and to wonder. They remind us that human history is full of skill, devotion, and imagination, and that sometimes the most profound mysteries are found in objects small enough to hold, yet vast enough to stir the mind and spirit. Even today, researchers continue to study the skulls, attempting to understand their origins, materials, and purpose. Yet the deeper questions remain: who carved them? Why? For what ceremonies, beliefs, or intentions? The answers are elusive, but the process of pondering, imagining, and reflecting is as valuable as any conclusion. The crystal skulls of Patagonia endure as silent witnesses, linking the past with the present, the natural with the human, and the known with the unknown. They are a meditation on artistry, mystery, and the quiet wonders of the world, inviting observers to pause, breathe, and contemplate the endless possibilities hidden within stone and time. Bronze-infused arrowheads. Uzbekistan. Across the ancient landscapes of Uzbekistan, where deserts meet fertile river valleys, and the Silk Road once carried travelers, merchants, and armies, archaeologists have uncovered a discovery that hints at both technological ingenuity and the mysteries of the past. Bronze-infused arrowheads. These ancient projectiles, unlike ordinary stone or metal points, contain traces of bronze intricately integrated into their design, suggesting knowledge and craftsmanship that continues to captivate researchers. Imagine walking along an excavation site, the soil warm beneath your feet, dust rising gently in the breeze. Among scattered fragments of pottery, tools, and bones, a glint catches your eye, a small pointed object, smooth and cold to the touch, yet bearing evidence of careful construction. These are arrowheads, but not ordinary ones. Embedded with bronze in a way that enhances strength, flexibility, and possibly even ceremonial value, they offer a glimpse into a people who understood the properties of metal and stone in remarkable detail. The age of these arrowheads is impressive, likely dating back several millennia. At a time when metallurgy was still emerging, the integration of bronze into projectiles reflects not only skill but foresight and experimentation. The artisans who created these arrowheads had to balance sharpness with durability, weight with aerodynamics, and the needs of hunting or warfare with the limits of their tools and materials. Picture the hands that made them, working patiently with primitive tools, shaping bronze and stone, blending them into a functional whole. Each arrowhead would have been tested, refined, and perfected. Perhaps some were used for hunting deer or wild goats across the valleys, while others may have been intended for defense or even ritual purposes. Every strike, every flight, every impact carried the mark of careful planning, human ingenuity, and intimate knowledge of the land. Local legends and folklore often speak of skilled warriors whose arrows never missed their mark, whose weapons were blessed or enhanced by mystical knowledge. Could these bronze-infused arrowheads be connected to such stories? Perhaps they were considered talismans of protection, symbols of power, or objects imbued with ritual significance that extended beyond their physical function. Archaeologists study every detail: the composition of the bronze, the shape of the shaft, the wear patterns, and the surrounding context. Each arrowhead tells a story of technological development, cultural priorities, and the relationship between humans and the tools they created. They reveal not only survival strategies, but also artistry, experimentation, and the desire to master one's environment. Imagine approaching the site at dusk, the sky a soft blend of orange and violet over the horizon. The arrowheads glint faintly in the fading light, reflecting centuries of history, effort, and human intention. There is a rhythm to the excavation, a rhythm that echoes the rhythm of life thousands of years ago: hunting, crafting, strategizing, surviving. In this quiet moment, the artifacts speak, urging reflection and curiosity. These bronze-infused arrowheads also highlight the ingenuity of ancient societies. The use of bronze, rather than simple stone or iron, demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of material science. It suggests experimentation with alloys, attention to durability, and possibly even ceremonial practices that we may never fully comprehend. Each arrowhead becomes a meditation on creativity, intelligence, and the delicate intersection of practicality and symbolism. Consider the broader context of Uzbekistan. Once a crossroads of civilizations along the Silk Road, the region saw traders, armies, and nomads pass through for centuries. Knowledge and techniques would have flowed along these routes, influencing metallurgy, weaponry, and daily life. The arrowheads stand as a small yet profound record of these interactions, of people striving to adapt, improve, and leave a mark upon the world. As night falls, the desert cools, and the stars emerge over the valleys. The bronze-infused arrowheads rest quietly in their resting places, preserved by soil, time, and the patience of nature. They whisper across centuries, inviting reflection on skill, innovation, and the enduring mysteries of human endeavor. Each artifact carries a story not only of survival, but of imagination, of hands shaping metal and stone to meet the demands of life. The bronze-infused arrowheads of Uzbekistan are more than tools. They are lessons in patience, curiosity, and the pursuit of mastery. They invite slow observation, gentle meditation, and a sense of connection with ancestors who lived, hunted, and crafted in ways both practical and inspired. They remind us that even the smallest artifacts can carry the weight of history, bridging time and imagination, and inspiring awe in those willing to look closely. The shimmering mud figures. Senegal. In the heart of Senegal, where the landscape alternates between lush riverbanks and arid plains, there exists a tradition and a mystery that has captured the attention of anthropologists and travelers alike: the shimmering mud figures. These delicate, enigmatic sculptures, crafted from local clay and sometimes coated with mineral or metallic pigments, glimmer faintly in the sun, as though holding the light of ancient ceremonies within them. Imagine walking through a quiet village, where the air is warm and filled with the earthy scent of the land. Amidst small huts and pathways, you notice small figures, standing silently upon raised platforms or tucked into corners. Their forms are abstract, yet evocative, humanoid in essence but imbued with an artistry that transcends simple representation. Some shimmer faintly, catching the light in subtle ways, hinting at materials or rituals that elevate them beyond ordinary clay. The age of these figures varies, but many are rooted in centuries-old traditions. They are not simply toys or ornaments. They are objects of cultural, spiritual, and perhaps even mystical significance. Each figure seems to carry an intention, whether to protect, honor ancestors, mark ceremonial events, or invoke blessings. Their shimmer may be more than decoration. It could be symbolic, a reflection of the human desire to capture the sacred in a tangible form. Picture the hands that made them, skilled artisans, likely guided by tradition, faith, and careful observation of the natural world, molded each figure with patience and reverence. The clay was shaped, pressed, and sometimes mixed with minerals or natural pigments to create a subtle glow. Every curve, line, and indentation was intentional, a visual language meant to communicate across time, culture, and belief. Local legends speak of these figures as guardians, emissaries, or conduits of spiritual power. Some villagers believe that they house the spirits of ancestors, or that they act as intermediaries between the human and the divine. Others say that the figures shimmer only when observed with reverence, as if responding to the attention, curiosity, or respect of those nearby. Whether myth or fact, the effect is mesmerizing, creating a quiet, meditative atmosphere for anyone who approaches slowly and mindfully. Archaeologists and anthropologists study these figures carefully. Each shimmer, each pattern, and each choice of material provides insight into ancient practices, local beliefs, and the subtle ways humans have sought to connect with forces beyond themselves. They suggest a culture rich in symbolism, attentive to craft, and deeply connected to the cycles of life, nature, and ritual. Imagine standing among the figures at dusk, when the sunlight filters through the trees and dust dances in the warm air. The mud figures glow softly, almost imperceptibly, reflecting a subtle brilliance that seems to emerge from the clay itself. There is a rhythm to the placement of the figures, a harmony with the surrounding environment, and a sense that each one occupies a precise, meaningful position. These figures also invite contemplation of impermanence and memory. Mud, a fragile and temporary medium, contrasts with the enduring shimmer, hinting at the delicate balance between transience and preservation. Some figures survive for centuries, protected by care or the arid climate. Others crumble quietly, returning to the earth from which they came. In this process, they embody the fleeting nature of human life, creativity, and cultural memory. Consider the broader context. Senegal is a land of rivers, savannas, and cultural diversity. Its people have lived in close harmony with their environment for generations, creating art and ritual that reflects observation, spirituality, and community. The shimmering mud figures are a testament to this connection, small, radiant objects that capture the essence of human intention and imagination, preserved in the fragile medium of clay, yet enduring in meaning. As night falls, the village quiets, and the figures stand silently, bathed in the silver glow of moonlight. The shimmer becomes softer, almost ghostly, inviting reflection and wonder. Each figure is a meditation, a bridge across time, and a gentle invitation to pause, breathe, and imagine the hands, minds, and beliefs that brought it into existence. The shimmering mud figures of Senegal are more than art. They are meditative tools, cultural expressions, and enduring mysteries. They encourage observers to slow down, to see with curiosity, and to appreciate the subtle interplay of human intention, natural materials, and the quiet passage of time. The twin skeletons of Kamchatka, Russia. In the remote and rugged wilderness of Kamchatka, Russia, where volcanoes rise majestically and rivers carve their way through endless forests, a discovery emerged that has intrigued scientists and historians for decades: the twin skeletons. Buried together beneath layers of earth and ash, these remains tell a story of life, death, and enduring mystery, a story that has captivated the imagination of anyone who studies the deep past. Imagine standing on a misty Kamchatkan hillside, the air crisp and cool, the soil damp beneath your feet. Here, under the shelter of the ancient forest, two skeletons lie side by side. Their positioning is deliberate, suggesting a bond that transcended life, whether familial, social, or perhaps even spiritual. The discovery prompts questions that linger quietly. Who were they? Why were they buried together? What circumstances led to their final resting place in this remote, windswept region? The age of these skeletons is remarkable, dating back several thousand years. Carbon dating places them in a time when humans were adapting to harsh climates, surviving volcanic landscapes, and living in small, close-knit communities. The preservation of the skeletons is extraordinary, allowing archaeologists to study not only their bones, but also subtle clues about their diet, health, and life experiences. Every detail provides insight into a world long gone, yet surprisingly tangible in its traces. Picture the individuals in life. Perhaps they were siblings, twins, or close companions. They would have navigated the same frozen rivers, hunted the same game, gathered the same roots and berries, and shared the same challenges of survival in a formidable land. Their lives were intertwined, marked by shared experiences, and ultimately reflected in the way they were laid to rest. Local legends in Kamchatka speak of twins with special destinies, of spirits bound together even beyond death. Some narratives suggest that twins were considered sacred or particularly powerful, their connection viewed as mystical, bridging the human and spiritual realms. Could these skeletons be linked to such beliefs? The burial arrangement hints at ritual, respect, or reverence, a gesture that invites quiet reflection on ancient practices and human thought. Archaeologists examine every detail with meticulous care: the alignment of the bodies, the spacing between them, the surrounding artifacts, and any signs of trauma or disease. These observations offer a glimpse into the social structures, rituals, and beliefs of the people who inhabited Kamchatka thousands of years ago. Even subtle differences in bone structure, size, and wear patterns speak volumes about the individuals' lives, their diets, and their daily activities. Imagine approaching the burial site at twilight. The forest is silent, except for the occasional call of a distant bird or the rustle of leaves in the wind. The twin skeletons lie undisturbed beneath the soil, each bone telling its own story while also whispering of connection, companionship, and shared fate. There is a meditative quality in observing them. a sense of wonder that stretches beyond scientific curiosity to something profoundly human. The twin skeletons also invite reflection on mortality, kinship, and the passage of time. Their side-by-side resting place is a testament to the ways humans honor bonds, whether through ritual, care, or the simple recognition of shared lives. It reminds us that even in death, relationships matter deeply, shaping burial practices and leaving lasting traces for those patient enough to discover them. Consider the harsh environment of Kamchatka itself. The volcanoes, forests, and rivers are forces that shape human existence, imposing both challenge and awe. Yet here, amid such powerful natural forces, the twin skeletons endured, preserved by soil, climate, and time. Their survival is a quiet miracle, a bridge between the past and the present that invites meditation on endurance, resilience, and the mysteries of life itself. As night falls, the site becomes enveloped in a soft darkness, the silhouettes of the surrounding hills casting long shadows over the burial. The twin skeletons rest quietly, their silent presence encouraging reflection, curiosity, and awe. Each bone carries history, intimacy, and connection, inviting observers to imagine lives lived in harmony, struggle, and companionship. The twin skeletons of Kamchatka are more than archaeological remains. They are storytellers, philosophers, and gentle guides into contemplation. They urge slow observation, deep reflection, and a curiosity that bridges millennia, connecting modern humans to ancestors who lived, loved, and faced the same fundamental experiences of existence. The Sunken Stone Lab, Indonesia. Off the coast of Indonesia, where turquoise waters lap against volcanic shores, and the ocean floor holds secrets of millennia, archaeologists and explorers have uncovered a site that challenges imagination, the Sunken Stone Lab. Beneath the waves lies a network of massive stone blocks, walls, and mysterious arrangements preserved underwater as though time itself has paused to safeguard their secrets. Imagine diving into these clear waters, the sunlight filtering down, refracting and dancing across submerged stones. Each block is enormous, precisely cut, and carefully placed. The formations suggest purpose, perhaps ritual, perhaps industry, perhaps something we cannot yet comprehend. The very scale of the structures evokes awe, leaving visitors and researchers alike to wonder, who built this, and why? The age of the Sunken Stone Lab is debated. Geological evidence suggests these structures were once above water, crafted during a period when sea levels were lower, perhaps 10,000 years ago or more. This means that the architects were humans living in a very different world, designing and constructing with knowledge, skill, and intent that modern eyes still struggle to fathom. Picture the builders in life, standing on dry land, wielding tools fashioned from stone, wood, and perhaps early metals. They shaped these blocks with care. Each stone required labor, planning, and precision. The effort hints at a community working in harmony, a society organized enough to design, plan, and execute monumental projects. And now, centuries later, the ocean has claimed their labor, preserving it in a state both mysterious and hauntingly beautiful. Local legends and folklore speak of a sunken city, of lands that once thrived beneath the waves, and of people whose knowledge surpassed the ordinary. The Sunken Stone Lab has fueled such stories, merging myth and archaeology into a tapestry of wonder. Some suggest these were laboratories of experimentation, sacred spaces, or places where knowledge was passed from one generation to the next. Others speculate they may have been ceremonial sites, where stone, water, and ritual intertwined. Archaeologists study the stones carefully, noting their shapes, sizes, and arrangements. The precision of the cuts, the alignment of walls, and the possible pathways between structures hint at planning and purpose. Even submerged, the site reveals subtle features that suggest both practicality and artistry. Walkways, terraces, and potential storage areas, all of which reflect human intention and ingenuity. Imagine exploring the site as the sun sets, the water above darkens, casting shadows across the stones. Fish swim lazily between blocks, and tiny currents ripple across carved surfaces. In the quiet, submerged world, there is a sense of meditation, a connection to humans who lived, planned, and built long before us. The silence of the water allows imagination to fill the gaps, to wonder at the people, their lives, and their mysterious purposes. These sunken structures also invite reflection on impermanence, resilience, and the passage of time. The ocean slowly reshapes and preserves the stones simultaneously. Erosion softens sharp edges, currents smooth surfaces, and yet the overall layout remains, a testament to endurance and the enduring human desire to create. Here, natural forces and human craftsmanship meet, leaving a story carved in stone and preserved beneath water. Consider the broader landscape of Indonesia, with its volcanic activity, shifting islands, and rich human history. The archipelago has long been a place of adaptation, innovation, and myth-making. The Sunken Stone Lab reflects these themes, an intersection of natural and human forces, a site that inspires curiosity, speculation, and awe. It is a reminder that the world beneath the waves holds stories as compelling as those above them. As night falls, the ocean surface darkens and the stones lie quietly beneath, preserved and mysterious. The sunken stone lab whispers across time, inviting meditation, reflection, and wonder. Each block carries traces of human effort, intention, and imagination. They are reminders of creativity, endurance, and the endless pursuit of understanding in a world that shifts and changes around us. The Sunken Stone Lab of Indonesia is more than an archaeological site. It is a bridge across time, a meditation on human ingenuity, and a quiet invitation to explore mysteries that endure beneath the waves. Its submerged silence encourages slow observation, curiosity, and the type of immersive reflection that soothes the mind and sparks imagination. In its stillness, the Sunken Stone Lab endures, a testament to both human achievement and the enduring mysteries of our world, inviting anyone willing to pause, breathe, and imagine the lives and knowledge of those who came before. The Derveni Papyrus Scroll, Greece. Beneath the soil of northern Greece, not far from the ancient city of Thessaloniki, archaeologists once uncovered something that should never have survived the centuries. It was not gold, not marble, not bronze. It was something far more fragile, and in many ways, far more precious. A charred roll of papyrus, buried inside a tomb, waiting silently for more than 2,000 years. This is the Derveni Papyrus. To the eye, it looks like little more than blackened scraps, brittle from fire, broken from time. And yet, hidden within its darkened fibers are words. Words written in Greek nearly 24 centuries ago. Words that scholars today call the oldest surviving book in Europe. Just pause and think about that for a moment. Of all the libraries lost to fire, of all the manuscripts dissolved by rain, insects, and neglect, this one survived. A roll of reed paper, meant to crumble to dust within decades, somehow made it across millennia to whisper to us again. Imagine the funeral where it was placed. A wealthy man, perhaps a noble or a priest, cremated and buried with offerings. Bronze vessels gleamed in the torchlight, ashes cooled inside the tomb, and among the objects laid beside him was this fragile scroll. It had already been blackened by flame, maybe deliberately, as part of the ritual, and then carefully, reverently, it was placed among the remains. No one could have guessed it would outlast marble statues and towering monuments. The text itself is a commentary on an older poem, an Orphic hymn about the origins of the cosmos, about gods, fire, air, and the beginnings of all things. The writer, a philosopher, explained the verses, line by line, giving them meaning in the language of ritual, law, and the divine. It was philosophy written at the dawn of philosophy, when myth and reason still walked side by side. When scholars first studied the papyrus, they realized they were holding something almost impossible. Papyrus rarely survives outside the dry sands of Egypt. In Greece's damp climate, a scroll like this should have vanished long before Alexander the Great was born, and yet because it was charred in flame, the fire that threatened to destroy it also made it durable, hardening its fibers and sealing it against decay. Fire became its preserver. Picture a scholar today, sitting beneath bright lamps, carefully turning fragments with tweezers. Each letter, barely visible, flickers into meaning. Each word feels like a breath returning from silence. What were once ashes become sentences. What were once brittle scraps become philosophy. The voice of an ancient thinker, long gone, long forgotten, speaks again, across 2,000 years of silence. But here is where the mystery deepens. Why was this scroll buried in the tomb at all? Was it a beloved possession of the deceased, a book he read in life? Was it placed there as a guide for the afterlife, a text to accompany him beyond death? Or was its burning symbolic, an offering, sacrificed in flame before being laid to rest? We cannot know for sure. The reasons are as fragile as the papyrus itself, lost to time. Close your eyes for a moment and picture it. A dark tomb, the smell of ash, the faint flicker of torchlight on bronze, and in the center, a charred roll of papyrus resting silently among grave goods. For centuries it lay untouched, while empires rose and fell above it. Macedon, Rome, Byzantium, all came and went, and still the papyrus waited, its words unspoken, until modern hands unearthed it once again. The words that survived speak of gods and rituals. They interpret an Orphic hymn, a poem once recited in secret rites, filled with mysteries of life and death. Orphic tradition sought to explain the universe, to guide the soul after death, to connect human life with divine order. Reading the Derveni Papyrus today is like listening to a conversation between myth and philosophy, between the sacred and the rational. Consider how fragile thought is. Spoken words vanish into air. Written words depend on fragile surfaces, clay, parchment, reed. Libraries crumble, cities burn, and yet this single papyrus endured. Out of countless texts lost to history, this one book refused to disappear. Why this one? Why here? Why this tomb? Some say its survival is pure chance. Others feel a kind of destiny in it, that ideas want to live, that thought has a will of its own, carrying itself forward when it matters most. And so the Derveni papyrus is not just an archaeological treasure. It is a reminder of how delicate memory can be, and how extraordinary it is when memory survives. Imagine unrolling it slowly, carefully, the fragments flaking at the edges, the blackened surface fragile under your fingertips. Letter by letter, the words return. It feels like time bending, like voices resurrected, and in those voices you hear not battles or kings, but reflections on gods, on cosmos, on the human soul. The papyrus teaches us something important, that history is not always loud. It does not always roar in stone temples or golden crowns. Sometimes it whispers, in fragile reeds turned to ash, preserved in the silence of a tomb. And so the Derveni papyrus lies before us today. Europe's oldest book, a roll of charred words, a bridge between the living and the dead, between myth and reason, between past and present. Close your eyes, let the image rest in your mind, a burnt scroll, surviving against all odds, words whispering across centuries, a voice that should have been lost, and yet was found.